All right, folks, welcome back to the podcast. Look who's joining us. It's Shaun, Likeable Rider. How you doing, pal?
I'm good, G.
All good, man, all good. Still flying the orange, I see. What's going on there?
Yeah, shit, it was laundry day, I think.
Now, we're gonna cover this, obviously, the great switch in manufacturers. We will for sure. Folks, Likeable Rider, if you're not yet aware, fellow YouTuber, lives in Germany, never mind. Shaun, can I give it to you for a quick sales pitch for yourself?
Yeah, I've been, my name's Shaun. If you don't know who I am, I've been in Germany for the last 22 years, ex-military. And but yeah, I've been doing the sort of YouTube motovlogging game for the last 5 years or so, maybe. Properly, maybe the last 2 or 3, but a couple of years we're just doing some bits and bobs. But yeah, that's pretty much me.
I've got to say, mate, I mean, I loved your stuff before, but you've like knocked it up about 12 gears. Certainly in the last year, certainly over lockdown, I noticed a massive jump in production, and your photography is amazing. Like your thumbnails are superb. They're like Peter McKinnon-esque in your.
Yeah, but to be honest, I think photography was probably more of a thing before the motovlogging. I've always been into sort of photography, so yeah, that was always there before. But it's like with anything, you know, you practice anything, and you get better at it, or hopefully that's the idea. But
folks, if you've not checked out Shaun's videos, I urge you to. There'll be links in the. If you're listening to the podcast, check out the show notes. If you're watching the vid, look at the description. There'll be links there at Shaun's channel. Check him out. He's a funny bloke. Even when he's sober, he's funny. So check him out. I'm going to blow smoke up your arse. I know you're here, but anyway,
please do.
100% deserves. I think you've got something like 12,000 subs. I think at the moment, is that what you're saying?
12 and a half-ish, I think. Right?
Yeah, I mean, the bloke deserves 120, if not even more.
Yeah, thanks.
Your stuff's great, and you deserve a lot more recognition for what you do, for sure. So, folks, please, if you've not checked it out yet, head there and check them out. Right, okay. I see you're sat in your own bar. Seeing as it's Remembrance Day, I thought I'd start with a Spitfire.
Oh, befitting.
What do you have to?
I'm going to pour myself. I've got a draft, so I'm going to pour myself a beer. Hold the phone.
Obviously, why would you not have draft in your own bar? That is snazzy.
Check it out. Oh, that is what you need.
Oh, look at that. Are you going to have to wait like an hour for the head to settle, or is that?
No, it does all right.
It's a proper German beer, isn't it? You need a flake in that, and you'll be away.
Yeah.
Slangs, awesome. My man. Slangs.
Cheers.
To your health. Oh, now, folks, if you've watched or listened to, let's get on it. If you've heard any of the other, I think you've been on twice now, haven't you, Shaun? Shaun likes a drink, and he has one hell of a swallow on him. Wait, so I've stocked up with beer, but I've got a feeling I might need to restock. So halfway through, I'll do my best to keep up.
Anyone that served in the military is a professional drinker.
Right, let's start off with where you are at the moment. That is impressive. You've built your own bar.
Yeah, well, it was a kind of a lockdown project. Obviously, over the last couple of years, it's okay now, but we're able to get out. But there was a long time where we couldn't go for a drink in a pub or couldn't do much else. So I thought, bollocks to it, I'm going to build a pub in my garden. You'll be able to see more of it from the GoPro footage. I've got it on the wire, but it's brilliant. I built a bar in there. There's lights everywhere, LED lights. I've got TV, Sky, all got draft beer.
You've got Sky in your bar.
Yeah,
mate, you're living the dream.
Just up there, there's a big TV and Sky in there.
I'm coming to visit. I don't care if I'm not invited. I'm coming.
My missus walks past all the time when she's going for a fag, and she just shakes her head at me. Most of the time, I'm sat here on my own getting wankered and just watching TV. Some loser.
What's the beer machine you've got there? What's that all about?
It's the Phillips Perfect Draft. I think Richie Vida's got the same one.
Oh, is that the one he had? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
how'd you find it?
Oh, it's pretty big here. Some of my friends have got them, but it was fairly expensive. So I was waiting for them to come down in price before I dropped it. No, in fact, no, rubbish. My parents have bought me that for my birthday. It's my birthday next week, and they sent it me early because I needed it for me birthday bash.
And what about the drinking? Wait.
Yeah, that's
anyway.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, you can stick a 6-litre keg in there, and it cools it. It's mega.
Awesome.
Yeah.
God, I might have to check that out. I could get messy with putting it in this office. Gee whiz.
Yeah.
Right, dude, there are loads and loads and loads of questions. So shall we just crack on? Just crack straight on with the questions and see where it takes us. How long have you got?
I'm good. I mean, my kids and everything are inside, so
you're written off for the day. I like it.
Yeah, I've said I'm going to be in the shed drinking and chatting to a screen.
Chatting to a screen. Chatting to my friends, my YouTube friends. Right, folks, we're going to do something different this week. Normally, I do my sponsor shout-outs in the audio podcast, and I do them at the start before we start this. But seeing as I'm amongst friends here, I thought, why not? Shall we just do them during the actual video? So first shout out to the podcast sponsors who are Innov. Now, if you follow my main TeapotOne channel, you'll know that Innov sponsor that as well. They specialize in like motorcycle dash cams. They've got single camera systems, dual cam systems. Have you ever tried them, Shaun? Any of these dash cams?
No. It's illegal here.
Is it?
Any form of dash cam is illegal.
What is the logic behind that?
It's to do with data protection.
Wow.
Rubbish. Yeah, you're not allowed to film in public either. Even with telephones, you have to ask people's permission if you want to film them. So a permanent dash cam in your car, whatever, is illegal. So even sort of what I do on the bike is kind of a grey area. So, oops. Right.
Okay. Well, Innov, you're not going to get any customers in Germany, but in the UK, coming from someone that's been involved in a couple of incidents, I wish I'd had that involved. I wish I'd had that installed when they happened. They will save you for sure. If you're in the right, they will save you if it's captured. I've got the K5, which is the 4K system, 4K front camera, 1080 rear camera. Once you've installed them, they're totally autonomous. As soon as you turn the ignition on, they start recording. They've even got a parking mode so that if you engage the parking mode, even when you're away from the bike and the ignition is off, the cameras have motion sensors on them, and any movement of your bike will instigate the DVR and it'll start recording. So, for example, somebody knocks your bike in a parking space, a car park, something like that. As long as it's in front or behind the cameras, it'll be covered. Head to Innov, innov.com, innovv.co.uk, actually. It's Innov UK, innovv.co.uk. I think it's /TP1. However you contact Innov, please do tell them TeapotOne sent you. It helps me out massively for them to know you came from me. Well worth checking out. All right, that'll do for now, Shaun. Let's crack on with the podcast. Right, folks, we're going to head to Patreon first. So patreon.com/TeapotOne to the clan. First question, Rob Bignell. Now that you've moved on to the BMW, will you be doing longer trips? Also, are you planning more trips with Andy? Nah, I'm assuming that's Andy Manka. So, come on in. The big switch to BMW.
I wouldn't say I'm now going to do any longer trips because I did longer trips before, I suppose. But I suppose maybe out of country, maybe they're talking about there. But I'd have ridden the Super Duke for blooming thousands of Ks. So in that respect, it's a bit more comfortable, obviously. But it doesn't make any difference to the mileage. I'll still be riding wherever I want to go. But yeah, obviously, over the last couple of years, we've been limited to where we can go. So it's only been in country. But yes, and to answer the second part, I spoke to Andy a couple of weeks ago about doing some sort of winter weekend. But now he's gone back to work, the lazy sod, after a couple of years off. He's not got much time. So possibly in December or so. But yeah, if not this year, then something next year, I'm sure we'll do. Because it's in high demand for me and Andy to get back out and do some weekending. So.
Yeah, definitely. You're a great double act for sure. What's the riding like in Germany over winter? Is it possible?
Yeah, it's probably no different to UK. Obviously, salty roads, I wouldn't go out. But if you've got dry roads and it's a nice day, then I'd go out. And they do different. They have seasonal number plates here. I'm sure I've mentioned it before. That if you're just a summer rider, you can register your bike for just 6 months of the year. So just the nicest 6 months.
Right.
And you just get a number plate, and it's got the sort of dates on the back of the bike on the number plate of when you can ride. But I really don't understand why people do it. I suppose, yes, if you're just a sunshine rider, then you save obviously half or 6 months tax, 6 months insurance.
Yeah.
But for me, if I can ride in November or March or whenever, if the sun's shining and the roads are brilliant, I'd cry if I couldn't then get out because I wasn't legally able to ride. So I really don't get it. So, and it's not like you save a lot of money. So
like, let's just say I was planning on a wee trip. I'm not. Well, I'm thinking about it, but I'm nothing in concrete yet. But a little trip across to Germany over sort of December, January, February, March, that sort of time. When would you say would be the ideal time? Or is there one during that period?
Yeah, I mean, we only had a bad winter last year where we had like a metre of snow. But, 3 or 4 years previous to that, we had quite a mild winter when I rode all year round. So it kind of depends. It's not really the climate and weather is not really anything different from UK.
Oh, okay. All right.
So, yeah, you could happily do it.
Right. Yeah, I just sort of wrote it off because I just assumed it would be like more winter than we get here. But if it's more winter, is that right English? I don't know. But
I mean, 10
I just assumed winter would be worse.
We used to get quite. Well, it was a lot harsh. It was quite a harsh winter. You go down to sort of -15 and snow. But as I said, the last 3, 4, 5 years, maybe we've had -2 or something, perhaps maybe -5 at the most. Not much snow apart from last year. So it's,
I might look into that then. I might turn up at your door one day, Shaun, going, "Come on, let's go for a ride."
Let's go and test some bratwurst.
Yeah. Hey. Okay, so the big switch. Well, it's not. You used to be on an XR, didn't you? You used to ride BMWs.
Yeah, 2016, I had the XR for 2.5 years.
And then you went to the Super Duke R, the Gen 3 one.
No, I had the GT first.
Oh, yeah, that's right. GT, yeah.
Yeah, so I've been at KTM 4 years, 3.5 years before I then went back to BMW. So.
Now, I've watched your vid about switching back from the Super Duke R back to the BMW XR. But for folk listening, what's the story? What happened?
Well, I ride with a group of KTM guys, and there's about 4 or 5 of us that are on the new Super Duke R. And I had a few issues, but probably less than anybody else.
Oh, okay.
And just, I was kind of just sort of underwhelmed by the whole sort of KTM experience. Without a shadow of a doubt, it's such a shame because KTM could be the best or one of the best. But I was getting a few issues, and other riders that I was riding with, they had way more issues than I did. But from the sort of service side of KTM, it was a bit underwhelming. And I had an issue. Or a few issues that I left out of my content that I mentioned in one of my videos that I did, because I just didn't want to be that guy, of everybody moans about KTM because it doesn't do. It's such a shame, and it's not okay. It's the manufacturer, but the bikes are so good and they're so much fun. It just kind of doesn't fit, and I didn't want to be that guy whinging about it. But the last issue that I had. The bike was shuddering under braking on the front end, so I took it to the dealership, and they said it was another known problem at KTM. Basically, the tolerance between the brake disc and the wheel was out, so it was causing the front end shudder. They managed to tweak a few bits, which made it slightly better, but it wasn't completely gone. But they said to me, it's covered under warranty, but we have to send your wheel down to KTM in Austria, and that could take 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks. I said, okay, but it's guaranteed, right? He said, yeah, that's no problem. I said, well, if I send that down there, that's going to be me, what, a month and a half up to 2 months for no bike? That's no good. Give me some sort of courtesy bike. And they wouldn't do that. So just that sort of thing, it was just like, well, how can I own a bike and potentially not have it in my possession for 2 months because of a problem? Yeah. And you're not helped in any way. And and just seeing the guys that I was riding with, the 4 or 5 other owners, they had way more problems than I did. And just seeing them poor sods at the side of the road for some issue. And they even bought like second bikes for when the KTM is knackered and goes into the dealership. I mean, I'm not in that situation where I could do that, but it was just the whole thing of seeing that all happening and the things that I had. And I thought, this is pump, and, going into a dealership and asking for a workshop, appointment just for a small issue. I had a small issue, and you go in, you say, need this looking at. Yeah, we can help you out in 6 weeks and give you an appointment. It's just time off your bike that you just don't want to be having. So it had to go. It was a hard decision because, as I said in that video, without a doubt the best bike I've ever ridden and owned, and I was a bit gutted, but
That is the thing, and I think the KTM's, the new KTM's, without a doubt, are the most exciting, engaging bikes I think I have ever ridden. They absolutely, they grabbed me by the bollocks and they tickled them. I loved it. I mean, when I test rode the Super Duke, I remember we were chatting, weren't we, on WhatsApp, and you were like, I've got a test ride booked for like in a day or 2 days' time. And I was like, you're going to buy it. And you did, didn't you? You test rode it and you were just like, amazing. It's a fantastic bike, but it is that whole dealership network, and I think it's global. It's certainly European wide, and I include the UK in that. It just seems that is the major thing that lets it down, sadly, because it should be such a so much more of a popular and better package. The riding experience can't be better, but the servicing and the dealer network, the customer sort of focus really needs to up its game, doesn't it?
You can even feel that in the dealership from the staff. You can probably tell that they deal with sort of unhappy customers throughout the day, because they're never sort of happy, or they never seem to be. Or one of the times I've been there, maybe they've had a bad one, or they're just dealing with unhappy customers. But sometimes you get the feeling they kind of get some enjoyment about telling customers they haven't got an appointment for the workshop in 2 months' time or something, or for 2 months' time. You don't get that feeling of, let me, workshop's full, but let me see what I can do. Maybe I can tweak something. There's none of that. It's just point blank. Nah, sorry, pal. 2 months. You shit out. And it's just the whole thing. I mean, my XR in 2016, I bought that brand new. And that needed all new camshafts and rockers after 4,000 kilometers. The engine had to come out, and
4,000 kilometers.
Yeah, they had an hardening issue on the cams, on not just the XR, the R, and the double R. They had a batch of bad cams. Again, these things happen, but BMW service was brilliant. Yeah. And I took the bike there, and it stayed there for many weeks. And I got to test ride loads of other. They give me, I think, 3 different courtesy bikes. I just had to change them every week, which was no bother, because I was making vids then on different bikes. So, and you just get that feeling. So again, when I walked back into the BMW dealership, it's the same dealership where I bought my previous XR. As soon as I walked in, they were like, "Oh, Shaun, how you going?" And that whole thing, they were all friendly, and they were wanting to get me back into the dealership. And I got a great deal on both bikes. I was like, this is the way to go. So I was kind of gutted that the bike went, but on the other side, the whole package now is much better. So.
Absolutely, yeah. When I had the Super Adventure S, the latest one of them out, and I was genuinely swithering. I was thinking to myself, I had electrical issues with that bike the whole 2 weeks that I had it, but the experience of riding it was so good that I remember thinking, this is going to be a tough decision. If I jump back on my tractor, back on the GS, when I dropped the KTM off up at Silverstone at KTM UK, and I jump back on my bike to ride it home, if it doesn't tickle my danglies as anywhere near as much as the KTM, it's going to be a decision that I'm going to have to make here. And I'm thankful that the gap between the Super Adventure S and the 1250 GS, it's noticeable for sure. The KTM is definitely faster. It's definitely more dynamic. It's definitely more engaging. It's definitely more of a grin factor. But the tractor's not that far behind. And it was that customer. It was the customer sort of package that comes with the BMW brand.
That's the deal. The deal
sort of saved it for me, for sure. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. But anyway, right. Okay. We've flown the flag for BMW there. Yeah. Next one, Charles Callard. So you're on death row and you've been given the chance to ride any bike and have any last 3-course meal and drink of your choosing. What are they? Oh, ride any bike, 3-course meal and a drink.
Bike could have to be some sort of MotoGP experience for me, I would have said.
Yeah?
Yeah, get on some sort of Rossi's MotoGP bike.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a track day, or even maybe not even GP, maybe even British Superbike. Just get on some sort of superbike on track would probably be. And it's for the road. I don't know. That would probably be more of an experience for me than testing some sort of expensive bike on the road. But the whole experience of something, maybe even doing that, a track day on a MotoGP bike, that'd be cool.
That would be awesome. That would be amazing. But my worry with that would be that. You see these like Top Gear. You watch the Top Gear lads and lassies, and they they jump in Formula One cars and they can't even pull the things off the start line. Do you know what I mean? Like they either can't get it to move, or once it's moving, they can't go fast enough to actually, get the benefit of they can't make the brakes get hot enough to actually use the brakes. And my worry would be that I jump on a MotoGP bike and all it would do is, it's just cement how shit of a rider I actually am. It would be an total anticlimax then, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but I suppose you'd have to have a weekend at it, maybe not just one day, from Friday to Sunday, possibly. Not film Friday, Saturday, because you'd be absolute pants at it, but just film the Sunday episode.
You're going to film it, are you? You're going to film
your eye in.
you'd
have to. You'd have to,
haven't you?
What was a meal?
3-course meal and a drink of your choosing.
Oh, for me, after MotoGP, I'd have to have fish and chips with some beer. Sounds pretty boring, but I miss all that stuff so bad. Oh God,
that's a GoPro beeping. Mate, don't worry about it. I'll grab it off the Zoom. It's fine. It's all right.
Is the audio good enough?
Yeah, it'll be fine. I can tweak the audio anyway a little bit in post, sort of take the echo off, hopefully. Fish and chip. Have you seen Chops and I's latest Big Hunt? Have you seen that at all?
Yeah, I love it. Awesome. Yeah,
it's such a giggle. Such a giggle. Yeah, part 2 will be coming out soon. Actually, that's coming out next week, folks. Okay, and what about your tipple? What about your drink of choice?
Yeah, I'm a beer man. It'd have to be a beer.
Yeah, but what beer, Sean? What beer?
It'd have to be something from Bavaria. Probably Spaten is probably a nice beer I drink. Spaten. Talking to beer.
Sounds good. Talking to beer, yeah, crack on. Right, okay. What about me then? Go bike. Do you know what I would love to ride? Is that oh good God. It's that hand-built bike. They only made 3 of them. The Kiwis. What's it called? It's a blue and a pink sort of design. Oh, I've forgotten the name of it.
Okay. Don't ring any bells.
I'm going to have to Google this. Sorry, folks. Yeah. Stand by me. I'm going to have to Google. So it's New Zealand hand-built motorcycle. I'm sure it was in like the 80s or 90s. They were the Britain V1000. That's what I would want. Yeah, I saw one when I was in the States, and I went to famous motor museum, and they had one there, and in the flesh it just looks stunning. So yeah, the Britain, that'll be my bike. Where I'd ride it, I don't know, probably New Zealand actually, since it's a Kiwi bike, probably New Zealand, because that's somewhere I've never been and I'd love to go. 3-course meal. It would have to be a steak. It'd have to be a steak for my main. Starter. You didn't do starter. What would be your starter on your pudding?
I didn't, did I?
No.
Well, you can't really have a starter fish and chips, can you?
Of course you can. What are you, man?
More fish and chips. More chips for starter, and then more chips for dessert.
Like it. What about pudding then?
Oh God, I don't know. Fish and chips is an hard one to start or to finish.
It's your last meal, man. It's your last meal.
I don't know. You'd have to be in that situation, wouldn't you, before you could, on death row. What would I like to eat?
I think I would go.
I'm not really a pudding man.
Starter. I do love a prawn cocktail for starter. I do love a prawn cocktail. Oh
dear, you tart.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Pinky out and everything. Yeah, I do love a prawn cocktail. I think I'd do prawn cocktail, the steak, and then pudding. It would have to be banoffee pie.
Okay.
Banoffee pie, done. And then my tipple be a nice Dulmore whiskey with a Dulmore whiskey with a nice lardy on the go, a nice big thick Cuban cigar. Beautiful.
And then off to the chair.
And then whatever's coming next. Yeah, whatever brings us on next. Charlie also says, Bruce, again, mate, loving the content. Keep up the awesome work and keep them shiny side up, boys. Cheers, Charlie. Thank you very much, pal. Next one, Mark Fulchar. Oh, these are often quite spicy, these ones. I up me ducks. Nice to see Chunky Nice to see Chunky Gary back on the pod.
Was he the guy that originally said? Was he the guy that originally said commented on that?
It probably would be Fulch, yeah. He doesn't pull his punches.
What did he say though? He said, I was a fat Gary Barlow and Chopsy was something from Steptoe Son, right, if I remember?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I wouldn't say you're a fat Gary Barlow, but you're a Gary Barlow. So a couple of questions for you both. One, given the fact that electric bikes are wank and any other technology is years from any sort of development, in your opinion, should we just scrap the electric regime and bring back two-strokes? Come on then, electric. What's your opinion on electric?
I mean, the concept of it, I don't know whether it's the future or not, but whether I mean, I've never ridden one because it's not really a thing here yet. You can get on them. They were at the bike show a couple of years ago. I went down to Dortmund. They had some there, but dealers, I don't know. I've never even Googled it here. If you can actually get on a test ride anywhere where I live. It's much more of a thing in the UK.
Yes, it's gathering pace here for sure.
Yeah. But here you don't hear anything about them. They'll have a stand on a bike show, but that's about it. So, but the concept of it, whether it's the future, whether things will change and we'll all be on electric, I don't know. But I've been in a few electric cars, which is kind of I don't know. I don't find it bad, and they do drive nice. So. Yeah, but whether it's better for the environment, all that kind of greens nonsense, I don't know.
I'm with you on that. I genuinely, I've got no fears about electric bikes not giving us the enjoyment that petrol do, because I've ridden quite a few electric now, and they are great fun. I genuinely enjoy riding them. There's issues, as we found out on the TV show, on Motorbike TV. Once there's like, say, three, we had three in particular. Two you can just about get away with riding in pairs, but any more than two, and it starts bringing up massive charging issues, which is what we found just trying to do a simple
if you're all trying
trip.
To charge at the same time, right? Yeah, nightmare.
And we stopped in a city that had a purpose-built electric car park charging station. So they had something like 16 different charging pods that you could go to. I think there were 8 of the fast DC ones. Not a single one worked. Every single one had issues. So it's so and we had like a schedule that we had to meet that day. So we built in charging time specifically for it.
Yeah, the infrastructure's not there, is it?
And in the end, we just couldn't do it because we ended up having to just, I think the third or fourth place that we found when we got there, eventually that worked, or it had a point available. Other ones they already had, there was only one and it was being used. So by the time we found one that was free, it only had 2 slots available. And with 3 bikes, that means, one's got to sit there, and so it just doubles up your time. So that was quite an eye opener. And the second part is, like you, I genuinely don't think electric's the answer. I don't see it as the ecological answer that we're looking for. I think all we're doing is moving from one thing that harms the environment to another.
Possibly. I've not gone too geeky with it and researched it too much about how much it damages the environment, or how much less, or how much more. But from what I've heard, it's not any better. Possibly even worse. I mean, most of it's obviously the disposal and the making of these batteries, right? But I don't know. But it's definitely, obviously, money's getting thrown at it all over the place. I mean, cars here is massive. I mean, the bike scene, the electric bike scene is non-existent here, but the cars is massive. You see cars all over the place, so that's pretty much sort of set in stone. And so many manufacturers now are building their electric cars that are on sale here, but bikes is non-existent.
Yeah, it kind of feels that now the big energy companies, your BP, Shells, Totals, people like that, now that they've all got on board with electric, and as you said, they are pumping billions into this, it's going to happen. And I just feel like, I kind of feel like we're being pushed into it before they've actually, I don't know. It just feels like we're going into this now, no matter what.
Yeah.
To hell with any of the consequences. We're not going to bother even looking any further than that. This is what we're doing. And it just doesn't. I saw an article a couple of months ago on a new synthetic fuel, a fully synthetic fuel, which, according to the article, you could simply just put straight into your internal combustion engine. No modifications needed. It goes straight in. And I looked at that and thought, Jesus, if that's true, that's the answer. Surely that's the answer. But I haven't seen any more on it.
Yeah, that's the thing. What is the answer to not having electric? What's the other option? Is there one? I don't know.
Yeah. And you worry, the old conspiracy tin hat comes on and you start thinking, well, what if there is an answer like this synthetic fuel out there, or something even better? But now, because they're pumping so much money from the big energy companies, they're pumping so much money into electric. Yeah. What if all that just gets sort of not surpassed? What if it all just gets ignored and sort of brushed under the carpet? And okay, we're not going to bother with that potentially better solution because we've invested too much money in this one. So this is the one we're going to go for.
Yeah, is there any going back from electric now?
Yeah, exactly.
Probably not. I don't know.
I don't know. But as I said before, I love riding the electrics. I genuinely do, but I'd
never go on one because everybody I've seen, even I was sort of on the fence about it all, whether it would be good or whether it'd be pants. I mean, from the riding experience, but from seeing you guys on them, and I know Andy was the same. Yeah, everybody seemed to enjoy them, and as I said, I've been in a few cars, and the torque that the things have got is ridiculous. So I'd imagine it's obviously you don't get the noise, but from the fun factor, I'd imagine it's fine, but I'd have to get on. I have to try and see if I can get on something. I don't know.
There's maybe there's scope here. Maybe there's scope for a wee vid then. Maybe if I could speak with English. I'm just totally off the top of my head here. I could speak with like English Electric or something, and maybe get a van, bring a couple over, and we do a road trip in Germany on them.
Or ride them over. Oh no, you can't bring me one. Then you have to bring me one.
You'd have to come over and then ride it over with me, but then you have to come back to fly back to Germany.
Yeah.
It's something to think about, isn't it? Yeah, I'm sure we could figure something out for sure.
For sure.
Right. Part 2 of Mark's question. So a quandary I found myself in the other day at the supermarket. Do you go for smoked bacon or standard bacon for the morning butties? Obviously brown sauce and white bread, otherwise you might as well wear lipstick and a skirt.
Right. The sauce thing that's come up on posts of yours before, where we've all gone.
Incredible.
Was it with Mr. Fish? Right? I'm sure it was.
I think it was. Yeah, brown or red sauce. Yeah.
I don't do any sauce.
What?
No sauce, but definitely smoked bacon.
It's got to be smoked, doesn't it?
Nothing else. No. Smoked.
Has to be smoked. Yeah. I like that. I like that. So no sauce. Is that better or worse than? What did I say? I can't even remember what I said for bacon. I think it's brown sauce.
You were brown.
Got to be brown sauce.
Sure
brown sauce on bacon. Always go brown. I'm glad you said that. Smoked bacon. Cool. Yeah. Right, last part. Keep up the good work, gents. And when does Gary start his next tour?
Oh, God.
There's got to be a T-shirt in that for you, Shaun. Surely. You've got to get onto that.
That could be some sort of Take That T-shirt.
Definitely.
I'm Fat Gary Barlow or something on there. Awesome.
Do it. I'll buy one. Right, next one. Phil Welch. A wealthy benefactor demands that he buy you each 3 bikes to allow you to compete with TMF. One for long journeys, one for fun, and one just to look at in your study. What are they going to be? Keep up the good work, both of you. Oh, that's a good one. Okay. Money, no object. 3 bikes.
3 bikes.
Journeys, fun, and just to look at.
Yeah, I'd probably have to go, obviously disregarding KCM problems. I'd probably have to go for the Super Adventure S for the longer journeys. Mm-hmm. I've been doing that 2-3 times. For fun, Yeah, I'd probably want the Street Fighter for the fun factor.
I've not ridden one yet. Have you? I haven't ridden.
I've not been on it, but I'm sure I'd like it. And to look at, I'd probably have to go something retro, probably some sort of custom tarted up retro R9T, probably be the way to go for me. Or something from Triumph retro. No, I think the R9T, I think they'll go retro.
Okay. I think for me, look at wise, just for looks, it would have to be the MV Augusta Rush. That is a stunning bike. I've changed my mind on it.
I don't like the closed rear wheel.
Do you know the solid bit on the rear wheel? I like that. It was just something different.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's all little things, like when you turn on the ignition, the lights and the dash just goes way over the top, you know, and you're just like, there's thought
Christmas
gone
tree.
into this. Yeah, but there's thought gone into it, you know? That someone's actually programmed the ECU to do all of that fajazzle on a bike, that was. So I think the MV Augusta Rush, and I was going to say my opinion of MVs has changed after doing that fish and chips thing with Chopsy. The new, well, I hadn't ridden the 800. I hadn't ridden the triple. I've only ever ridden their inline fours.
Yeah.
And the inline fours, it just seemed like a pointless bike for the road to me, because like all inline fours, you have to get the revs right up. But with the MVs, there was literally nothing until about 10, 11,000 revs. And then the thing just took off. You know, it's like, hang on, we are going. Poof,
no mid-range?
No, nothing.
Okay.
And it's like you're doing 90, 100 miles an hour before that power, the power range kicks in. And what's the point of that on the road, realistically?
Bit track orientated.
Totally track.
The price of them, though, is ridiculous, though, isn't it? Who's going to buy them?
Here's my big caveat. Yeah. I'd never ridden the 800s, the triples. So I jumped on the Brutale 800s, the RR. Amazing engine. So much pull. Like, reminded me a lot, obviously, of the Triumph, of the Speedy, the Speed Triple. But I actually think it's probably more fun, more engaging than the Triumph. A little bit less comfortable. And the new 1000 Brutale 1000, so this latest one for 2021, I don't know what they've done to the engine, but it has workable power all through.
Is that what Chops was on your vid?
Yeah. We swap over, and in the second vid we actually swap over, so you get to see. But the new 1000cc one is great.
Yeah, looks wise, they're beautiful bikes.
Yeah.
But,
So go on.
But for the Rush though, that'd blow you over in the wind if that's that closed back wheel.
Well, it would be the one that I would just park up. That would be the one just to park up in my man shed garage, like what you've got. And that would be the one I'd look at and touch myself. So long journeys, I'd still go. I think I'd still go the Tractor. I'd still go the GS, because it's reliable. It's 90% of the fun of the Super Adventure S or the big Ducatis. But it's just reliable. It just does the job. It's got everything there.
Yeah.
For fun, jeez. There's a lot of really fun bikes out there, man. Even from the little Sinus 125 or the Honda C90. I was on the Honda Postie bikes down with Nathan Millward recently.
Yeah. That's what then. Is that where you went off-road on them things?
Yeah.
Mental.
It was such a scream. I had every bit as much fun on them as I did on the Super Duke. You know, it was just... Yeah,
you don't always have to have the biggest, boldest, all the power. Just a small little bike, just something little small and pokey, and you can have a blast on that all day long.
Yeah. There's a few bikes I've ridden that have just made me feel young again. And enjoy riding a bike. You know, like I couldn't wait to get out there on it, no matter what else is going on or, you know, what the weather's like. It's just like, shit, I'm getting on that. Yeah, let's have it. Yeah. Super Duke R was it. The Ducati Hypermotard, that 950, that was one. And definitely the little bikes. You know, I never got the chance to ride the C90, but the CT105, Honda CT, the Postie bike, and the little Sinus 125 were all a scream. All an absolute scream. So one of them, I think, for fun.
There you go.
Right, next one. Cheers for that, Phil. Next one, Colin Porteous. What's your favourite bit of Germany to tour in, and are there really that many road closures, or are you and Andy Mancam just really unlucky?
I think the best place for me to ride is Thüringen Wald, which is where I went. I did a weekend there with Andy last winter, and it was horrific. The weather was so bad. I think it was 5 degrees or something. I nearly crashed a few times with it on the Super G. I mean, honestly, on that bike, I mean, I rode that bike all year round, but I was riding, people were commenting on, where is he going? He's cornering's naff, he's going straight on corners, but I was riding the Super G car in winter on sports tyres, which isn't ever a good idea. But that area, Thüringen Wald, is amazing because it's one part of Germany it's a fairly big nature reserve, but there's not many, or there's less speed restrictions. It's a higher speed limit there, and it's not really policed like the other main, the Harz. I know you've been to the Harz, and a lot of other areas in Sauerland where I ride a lot of time. It's more heavily policed in Thüringen Wald. So, and it's just so untouched. And you don't really see anybody. Obviously, depends on what time of the year you go there. But it's a beautiful nature reserve, and it's just curves without end. Obviously, we went there in winter last year, so we didn't get much joy with the weather. But that's probably my favourite place to ride in Germany is Thüringen Wald. So,
mate, I've got to go. I've got to go.
It's brilliant, mate. And I mean, obviously, you've been here a few times. There's a lot of 50 k an hour speed limits, maybe 70s, but the sort of nationals is 100. But I think the majority of Thüringen Wald is 100. So you can give it pasty there. And even if you go, a bit above that slightly, nobody's really there to take much of an interest. So that's probably my favourite place to ride. What was the second part of the question?
I don't care about that bit yet. Whack that in the diary. Please whack that in the diary and let's organise something. Let's go. My mouth's watering at the thought of that.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean it's just all forests, and it's just all twisty back roads. I mean, there's a bit of traffic, but it's nothing horrific. So, and the
2022, I'm coming to you, right? Let's do it.
Let's get it on.
We could do that on electric, maybe.
Oh no, where are you going to charge it there? Plug it into a tree.
Give it a hug. Yeah. Road closures. Colin's asking, are there that many road closures, or are you and Andy just that unlucky?
Oh, road. I don't know. It's a disaster, isn't it? Sometimes. I mean, a lot of the time we put it in the videos for the sort of comedy value. It's not. It's probably looks worse than what it is, but you get to a section of road that's being worked on. There's never anybody working on it, but it's just been closed. I don't know because you have night shifts in the UK, right, on roadworks?
Yeah. Well, not often. It's not often. I mean, we're the same. There's often roadworks, but no bugger actually working on them. So it's the same here.
Again, it's bad luck. Most of the time, obviously, it's the twistiest, nicest bit of road, and you do a left or a right, and it's blocked because they've tore the road up. But on the plus side of that, or the flip side of that, is that they look after the roads amazingly. So yes, we may have been unlucky that we bowled onto some sort of roads that have been closed, but 2 weeks later it'll be finished and you can tear ass down there. The roads will be amazing, the surface will be brilliant, but we do add it into the video. I do, especially I add it make sure I put it into the video just for the sort of comedy value of it. But it's not bad. It's not bad.
What you mean that what people see in the video isn't necessarily exactly what happened? I get that all the time. Like people are like, I'm trying to think of a specific example, but as usual, my mind's gone blank. But you get people saying, oh, you didn't do this, or you didn't do that, or, oh, yeah, shoulder checks. God, I had one chap who had this hard-on for shoulder check. You never made a shoulder check before you changed lanes or did that. And I'm like, I did. I just don't include every single breath I took during that day in the video. It's like, what's the point of... Isn't it
amazing how people just, from the whole video, that's what they take out of it? I think I'd have comment. Oh, I noticed at 2 minute 47, you didn't stop at a stop sign. What a wanker you are. Like, what the
Yeah, and thanks for highlighting that to everybody else.
It might have been something I've missed, but then obviously after that, you make a cautious thing not to include that sort of stuff in videos. But some people go to town on the stupidest of shit that you're like, oh mate, why don't you just go watch it?
Yeah, it's fun, isn't it? Right, cheers for that call. Next one, Harley. Hi, guys. Hope you are well. My first question as a clan member. Welcome, Harley. Thank you very much for your extra support, pal. If it was possible to transplant your brain to stay alive for another 100 years, would you? Absolutely.
Yeah, most definitely.
God, yeah. I'd love to see what the future holds.
Yeah. Hopefully we see some sort of end to a coronavirus. That'd be awesome.
Oh, mate. I think they're going to milk this for a long time, I think.
Oh, it's going to be horrific. No, but yeah, for sure.
You think about what we... So go on. Apologies.
We'd probably be on some sort of hovercraft motorbikes. It'd be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the advances in technology from, let's go back 100 years, 1921. Yeah. So that's just after the First World War, which we beat you, obviously. And then you fast forward a year. Sorry, pal. You know I'm only mucking about. I get people going, stop giving him such a hard time about the war. It's just a joke. It's a joke. It's banter.
No, I don't take it as anything else.
But if you look at the advances from like the 1920s to now, it's a different world, isn't it? So imagine what we're going to be in 100 years' time from now. God, be like the Jetsons, hopefully.
Yeah, we'd be flying on something.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, hovercrafty motorbike type of it.
Somebody sent me a video. There was come on, think smart. There was a thing launched on YouTube. Oh yeah, it was a hover. It was like a personalized helicopter that was actually, I think it hovered or something, doesn't it? Or is it? It's a drone. Is it a drone that you sit in?
Yeah, a drone sort of bike that you sat on.
I contacted him and went, yes, I'll review it. Yes, please.
You've seen them idiots that fly them jetpacks. They've got a jetpack on. They've got something on their arms for thrust and something on their feet, and they're fucking flying around on these things. That's mental.
They use them in the military. The Marines. There's a video of the Marines doing it.
I think that's the video that I saw. Absolutely
going from one boat to another.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, so we in 100 years we'll be flying everywhere. We won't need any road closures.
I'll be in the bar. I'll wait for you. No worries. Right, next one. Pete English. Oh, here we go. Cheers, Pete. Hi, guys. Oh, Harley, thank you very much for your question, pal. Pete English. Hi, guys. Hope you're both fitting well. Question. Which one of your YouTube videos has had the most negative comments, and why do you think that was, and how do you deal with it? Keep up the fantastic work, guys, and live your life.
Ooh. Oh, that's an easy one for me.
Go on.
It was older videos, maybe 5 years ago. I didn't delete it, actually. I did a review on the old Ducati Multistrada. I think it must have been from 2015, 16, maybe, I don't know. But back when I first started this thing, I was fresh out of the military, and I had a bit of a thing with swearing. Not that I do now, but yeah, on some of my older stuff. I mean, I got rid of a lot of the older stuff because I don't know. It got to a point where it was unnecessary at some times, put it that way, and it was a lot. And that got a lot of negativity. Not always. A lot of people said, "I love it. That's amazing. Don't cut that out." But that was probably the swearing for me back in when I first started doing this. That was a big negative for me. I watched them back, some of them, and you think, Jesus Christ, it was obnoxious at some times. I'm thinking, God, but you know it yourself from being in the police. It's a kind of it's a language that just gets used in a man environment. Absolutely. Whether it's fire service, police, military. Maybe I don't know if the military we were on another level, but every other word was something obnoxious. So I had to kind of stamp that out pretty quick, because that was a main point of negativity that people commented on. So.
But then you look at where motovlogging came from. This thing about having a camera on your lid and chatting whilst you're on a bike. It's sort of, certainly for us here in the UK, we were influenced by the American market. That was certainly for me and a lot of people I know here. It was the Americans that sort of kicked it all off. And they were doing that. They were wheeling everywhere and they were effing and blinding. And it was like that. And I remember watching it and it turned me off. You know, I was just like, I don't want to be associated with that. So I sort of made the conscious decision right at the start not to. It's not that I don't swear. I do swear, but I'm not effing and blinding and dropping the C-bomb every second word. You know, it's...
Yeah.
That's there's a time and a place, isn't there? Yeah. But a lot of people did. You go back 10 years and a lot of people were doing that. A lot of people here in the UK were emulating what was happening in the States. And Richie Vida's a prime example. He used to swear all the time in his really early vids. And he's the same as you. I think he's deleted them or brought them offline.
Yeah, but you kind of narrow in your audience. Obviously, you're going to get people that on the same sort of wavelength from you and that enjoy that sort of stuff. But you kind of cutting off the people that probably there for the content, or maybe you're reviewing a product or a bike. And if you're effing and blinded, then they're not going to watch it. But it's something that I will never stop doing because that's just who I am. But I kind of make a laugh out of it. So you use the odd one, and I don't know. I just edit some sort of stupid noise or some horse.
Same. Yeah, makes you human. There's very few people out there who won't swear in like a sudden expression of anger, frustration, hilarity, anything. It's just normal, isn't it, for most people out there?
And if it's done in good context, it's kind of amusing. As I said, it was borderline obnoxious back in the day, so that had to change. But to answer your question, Pete, that was probably my main negative issue.
I think I'm trying to think of my vids that have had the most negative. I think the most negativity, and I don't know if that's because I felt a little bit off about the video itself, is when I've done like promotional videos for other people. So it's not my usual type of vid, but I've done a couple, needs must, this lockdown was tough, wasn't it? And you got mortgages to pay at the end of the day. Yeah. So, I did a couple of promotional ones, and it's not the usual type of thing that I would do. And they stand out. They stand out not only because they don't get any views, they don't get anywhere near the views that normal vids would get, but they definitely attracted, not always negative, not negative as in people having a pop, but definitely negative and people going, it's not your usual type of content. I understand why you've done it. So it's probably those type of videos for me. They're the ones that get the sort of the worst reaction off of people.
I think another main one is, sorry, Karen.
No, go on, mate. Go on.
Yeah, I think another issue is when, obviously, when you first start out, doing your YouTube thing, you're obviously just doing your thing and going on rides. And the minute you sort of review a product or you get something sent to you free of charge, then you're automatically some sort of sellout. Yeah. And you've gone full commercial. And,
no, yeah.
And that's a thing, and I always say to people that, be open-minded about it, or put yourself in anyone's position, mine, yours, whoever. If you're doing this thing and you get acknowledged by, say, some sort of company, and they're loving what you're doing, and they say, would you be interested in testing our products? We're going to send you all free of charge. Who is going to say, no, mate, I'm not into that. Sorry about that. Keep your stuff. I'm just going to carry on riding a bike. Obviously, you're going to take on offers. And it's a good thing for us that, and you're doing well. You're obviously putting out some good content that's getting you sort of noticed to do that sort of thing. Who is going to say no? I don't want that.
I do say no. I'll put my hand up and I'll say I do say no, because you get some people that contact you, and I'll have a little look at the product or the company. And I have a big thing about trying to promote. At the moment, I'm trying to promote like non-Chinese made product, basically, like UK or European, American, whatever it is, like a domestic manufactured product. So that's what I really want to try and promote as much as I can at the moment, because COVID showed us that we're way too reliant on overseas, really. So I'm really trying to promote.
I'm not saying say yes to everything. Obviously, get contacted, you have a look and research what exactly they're wanting from you. And if it's something that I probably wouldn't be interested in myself, I wouldn't spend my own money on, then I'd probably do the same. I'd say no. But there's many things that you get negativity on. Even riding's another one.
All
you
the
know,
time.
who doesn't have an off day where you get on your bike and you ride it like an absolute idiot the entire day? Nothing's happening, the planets haven't aligned, and you ride it like a complete tosser. You're going wide, you're late on the brakes. Well, everybody has these days, but we still put our content out there, and people are straight on there to say, oh God, 2 minutes,
all the time.
Yeah.
And riding's a very personal thing, isn't it? It's like just because the camera is there on your helmet and showing the viewer a slice of what you're seeing, it doesn't show everything. You know, the camera distorts. Distorts speeds. It distorts angles. It distorts everything. And what you see as the rider generally is totally different to what's portrayed on that camera. So you'll see it, and you'll see an option, or you don't see an option. You know, like I'll get people going, oh, why didn't you take this overtake, that overtake? And I'm like, well, because I could see there's, you know, if you look on the horizon, there's a junction up on the right or on the left. And what if something comes out and I'm mid overtake, something pulls out, a tractor with a trailer, for example, all this sort of stuff. It's all stuff that I've been taught in a previous life that maybe as Joe blogs who's just out riding bikes, you maybe don't think about that stuff. I don't know, but you know, there's a lot of things that you see as the rider which the viewer won't take into account, will they?
I think a lot of people just want to give you shit.
A lot of people just want to have a pop.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, everybody has a bad one in between. You just ride like a bit of an idiot, and nothing's working. And it happens to everybody. But everybody's straight on you if that happens. But I don't.
Definitely. Going back to those products, what I was saying before was it sort of, it hurts sometimes when people have a pop at your integrity. For me personally, that's something that I sometimes bite a little bit too much, I think, in comments. If someone questions my integrity in a comment, because that's something that I vehemently will protect. In that, you know, I've turned down work. I've turned down paid work because I've either looked at the product and gone, or I've got the product, you know, they send the product for review, I use it, and I think it's crap. I don't think it's any good. So I'll say to them, look, I'll do a vid, but it's not going to be favourable for you, but I'll give you my feedback. 9 times out of 10, they don't want that vid, do they? So that's that bit of income gone. Or, excuse me, a big thing is, you know, all the press days and all this sort of stuff. You go to the launch events with new bikes and stuff. I tend to turn them all down. Well, I used to turn them down. I don't get offered them anymore because I've turned them down. But, you know, again, it's for me, it's like, I see the videos come out and there's like 12 videos all come out on the first minute a new bike's launched, because everybody went to that launch or everybody got the press pack and everyone's just, you know, taking the press pack and made their own vid. I totally get why people do it. It's not a pop at people why they do it, because they get the views. I totally understand, but it's not my cup of tea, you know, and I know the channel would grow a lot more if you did that, but it's not the stuff I want to make. Do you know what I mean?
It's difficult, isn't it? Especially with something like that, especially you guys obviously being a lot also bigger YouTubers and being in the UK for test bikes and launches and whatnot. A lot of you get invited to them, and it's inevitable, isn't it? Everybody's going to be releasing their videos at pretty much the same time. It's a thing. I don't know. It's a difficult one. It's not something I could probably comment on, because here in Germany, obviously, it's not a thing. They're not into social media at all with regards to test rides or test bikes or launches. I don't know, maybe there's 1 or 2 massive or much bigger German motor vloggers that may get an inkling, a leg in the door. I don't know, but it's not a thing here. So it's not something that I can really sort of...
Is Germany still more print orientated then? Is it still sort of more magazine orientated? Traditional journalists?
I don't know. Not even that. They're just not interested in promoting anything. You know, using social media influencers or in the motorbike industry. I don't know. I mean, even there's a couple of bigger German YouTubers, but they don't do sort of test ride reviews much, especially as much as no, not really. It's one that does. He's on the racetrack a lot. I think he's sponsored by some sort of racing team, so he races. But Lucas Litt, his name is.
Oh, okay. His channel. Do you know Meds? Meddes, Meddes.
No,
not seen him. I've seen quite a few of his videos. Yeah, I think he's just a YouTuber, but he does very well.
Okay.
What about 1000 PS? They're
that's like your MCN, your sort of German version to MCN, I suppose. If you like, it's quite a massive. Well, it's not just a YouTube channel. Obviously, it's a big company. So, they do a lot. But just the smaller scale. If you went into a dealership in UK, and you obviously a lot of the dealerships will possibly know a lot of YouTubers. So even if you just went into a dealership and say, look, I'm looking to do some tests and reviews, would you be interested? And whether they say yes or not, that's by the by. But here, you walk into a dealership and say, I'm a YouTuber, I want to review one of your bikes, and be like, what?
What?
Yeah. What? You're on YouTube and you want to buy. What do you want to? Do you want to rent a bike, or do you want? No, I just want to test it for a couple of hours. Yeah, well, I don't know. I'll cost you €200. They're just not. So there's no point in even going in and saying your intentions. That's what me and Natty do. We just go in and say, just pretend to be interested in buying some sort of bike that you just want to do a test ride on.
Gotcha.
But the insurance on it is ridiculous. The excess is ridiculous. I think Andy was saying, you read in the small print last time he was on a test ride. He even said on there, the insurance wouldn't cover you for any sort of media review of this machine or whatever. So if he'd have been there, they're just not into it. They just don't. It's just not a thing here.
So how do you organise your sort of test rides of bikes then? You just have to go in as the standard punter.
Yeah, just pretend you're interested in that bike you want to test ride.
That's pretty much how most of us did it or do it here, to be honest. Unless you're going with a manufacturer, unless an actual manufacturer is supplying a loan bike to do, then I'll just contact a dealership and go, any chance I could take such and such out. And I'm in a fortuitous position now that, well, generally, if I do it from a social media, they'll have a look to see what's TeapotOne, or in my email, there's a link, there's a signature at the bottom that has it there. So generally, if they've never heard of TeapotOne, they might have a look, and so they know. Or I'll say to them, look, I've got a YouTube channel, social media, I'll do some content around it, blah, 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 blah. Are you okay with that? I'll tag you in it.
Yeah.
So, but generally that's how I certainly how I started, was just as Joe blogs, just go in and still to sometimes that's still how it is.
Yeah.
Right. Cheers for that, Pete. Right. Another sponsor shout out. Folks, if you want a cup of tea, feel free. Ultimate Add-ons, massive thank you to Ultimate Add-ons for sponsoring the podcast. They also give me the phone holder that I use in all my bike reviews and things like that. If you're not aware what Ultimate Add-ons do, folks, they supply mobile phone and action camera accessories and holders. Their camera holders are dustproof, waterproof. They're now shockproof. You can still use the camera even though it's in the phone holder. I've got, I think, an iPhone 11. Yeah, iPhone 11 Pro. Got the case for that. It also fits the iPhone 10 as well, in case you've got a 10 and you're upgrading to the 11. I use, to attach it to the bike, I use the Helix strap mount. Now, that's the only one I recommend to you folks, because I haven't used any of the others. I use the Helix strap and I've had no issues with vibration or anything affecting the camera using that one. So that's the one I recommend you go to. It's just like a ratchet strap that will go around just about any part of your handlebars. You can even put them on clip-ons on the bike. There's always somewhere I can find to attach that. So head to Ultimate Add-ons. It's ultimate with ADDONS.com. Use the code TeapotOne10 for 10% off. And we're back. How many beers is that you're on, Shaun? Is that your third, fourth? You're not on 4, are you?
Yeah.
Are you on 4? Seriously?
Yeah.
Shit the bed. I'm almost finished 1.
Get him down, you
Wow.
Bruce.
I know. This is a disgrace. I'm embarrassing myself. Don't be a girl. No, Shaun. No. Right, next one. Dave Watritt. Welcome back to XR ownership. Shaun, don't listen to Bruce. He's a GS tart. Cheers, Dave. Yeah. Maybe you should do a best Brockwurst mission to Germany, Bruce. Well, that has been said. And the issue Chops and I have with the big hunt is at the moment we're limited to only things we can do in one day. Now that is a full, that can be a full 24 hours or just over, but we have some constraints at the moment, which mean we can't be away sort of on an overnighter or anything like that at the moment. That may change. But that's definitely one.
Loan bites or
no. It's personal issues that unfortunately we just can't get around at the moment. But that is definitely on the pipeline. If and when things change, then we will be certainly adding overnight things in the UK, and definitely I'm really keen to take this across into the continent, and you never know, maybe even a little bit further afield. We'll see. But anyway, from Dave, just a quick one from me. A last-minute bike trip away, 3 days or so, including travel to and from. Where do you go? Oh, that's a goodie. Okay.
3 days?
You got around about a 3-day road trip, including that's getting from home and back. Where do you go?
Oh. No, it's difficult for me being sort of mid to north Germany. 3 days isn't a long time. Take me 1 day from where I live to get down to the Alps.
Rubbish.
Yeah?
Rubbish. You could just jump on the motorway and be down there, no bother.
Yeah, from my place just to Munich is a 7-hour drive.
What? Really?
Yeah.
On the motorway?
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, so if you go in, obviously Munich's not far from the border, so to get into Bavaria, into the Alps, so it's a day.
I got from my house to middle of Switzerland in, oh Jesus, I can't remember how long it took me. Just over a day, I think, day and a half it took.
Where did you go from? What did you go to Calais?
Yeah. I got the tunnel. I've not edited the series yet. It's coming, folks. I got the Eurotunnel crossed from Folkestone to Calais, and then from Calais all the way down to the border with Switzerland. I just took the back roads, just did a Calais moto all down through France. It was early hours of the morning. I left home at like 11:15. Yeah, 11:15 Saturday night. I left, and I got to the hotel in Switzerland 4 p.m. Sunday afternoon. Is when I got there.
Okay.
And then once I got to the Swiss border, I jumped on the motorway and just did the motorway straight in for the last sort of hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever it was.
Yeah. 3 days is, I don't know, it's not a lot for me to get anywhere decent. I don't know, you could probably get into, you could go east, I suppose, from my place. Maybe down to sort of, I don't know. Yeah, it's difficult. Three days isn't probably not enough for me to get anywhere.
I had a proposal through from a PR company for I don't know if I've probably not got it because I've never heard anything back, but who knows? But I had a proposal put through from this PR company, and they wanted to know for their client, they were looking at doing a sponsored trip basically, and they said, right, in 3 days, where would you go and what would you film? And so I thought, well, if it's going to be during the winter, which is what I assumed it was, I thought, well, I need to get as far south as I possibly can.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm always doing Spain, so I'll not bother with Spain this time. And I thought, why not go down to the south of France? So my pitch was use their ferry to get across into France or anywhere else to where they go. And then ride, just bang it straight down to Grenoble, pick up the Route Napoleon, do the Route Napoleon all the way down to the south of France, and then play all around the south of France, have the afternoon in Monaco, do the Monaco F1 circuit, have the coffee in Monaco, all that sort of stuff, and then have another bit of a play on the third day back up through France, doing the back roads, the good biking roads, and then the last bit, just motorway it, because the top part of France is pretty boring, to be honest. The east side's good, but the the middle and over to the west a bit boring, I find. So just jump on the motorway there and peg it back to the terminal and home.
Yeah,
so I think that's probably
that'd be the direction to go. I mean, for me, yes, I would agree with that. But for me, obviously, I've never ridden in the UK. I'd probably do 3. If I had 3 days, I'd probably go up to Scotland or Wales or something.
That's interesting. Yeah. See, I just didn't even think about that, but that's a good point.
Yeah, but you wouldn't do.
I
mean, I would never then say I'd do 3 days inland in Germany, because that's what I do all the time. So you either got to go down south, down to the Alps, some shape or form, or I'd probably go to UK just because I'm never there. So
it's something different, isn't it? Yeah, for sure. I think we are here in the UK in particular. We are very fortuitous that we have. I mean, I'm saying this, somebody that lives in the southeast of England. So literally, like, Dover's 36 miles from where I live. So, I'm at the ferry port or the tunnel.
You're good to
no
go,
problem.
yeah.
Half an hour, 40 minutes, I'm there. And then it's an hour crossing, or 25 minutes, whatever it is, if you take the tunnel. And I'm in Europe. I'm in France, and the world's your lobster then, because you could just peg it and get there.
It's probably a shorter distance for you from Calais down to the Alps. I mean,
then up to the top of Scotland.
Yeah, I mean, I can get the overnight ferry from Hook of Holland to Newcastle. I think it's the highest you can go, right? And then from Newcastle to Scotland, it's not. What's that? A couple of hours maybe to the border from Newcastle.
If that. Yeah, an hour and a half or something. Yeah, I don't think it's too far.
I'm probably about 3 hours from the port in Holland, from where I live. So for me, for a 3-day trip, I think the UK would probably be more feasible than going south. Because, as I said, it's a 7-hour drive just to get to Munich from where I live. And from Munich to the Alps, you're another, I don't know, hour and a half. So that's a good full day.
I have to do something for the heated clothing people, Keys. Well, you've probably seen it on social media. It seems like every man, woman, and their dog. Yeah. So I'm one of their finalists, and pardon me, I've been saying. Excuse me.
It's not fixed at all, right? I'm sure Richie.
Well, I actually applied for it. I genuinely applied.
Yeah, I think Andy did as well.
Oh, did he? So I saw a post on social media, and I think from what I remember, Rich sort of reminded me of this. I think there's potentially a trip to Iceland in it.
Yeah.
And you had to submit this sort of application. So I did. But I know other people that are these finalists who never applied for anything and got stuff. So they say they never applied for anything. I don't know.
The biggest YouTuber is going to get to go.
I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I think things are changing it.
The girl on the bikes, she's going to win.
Yeah, she's in everything at the moment, isn't she? But she's putting herself out there and she's making the content. So, as a PR company, which one would you go for? You're going to go for the one that's producing the content, aren't you? That's getting out there.
Surely it should
be.
So
the whole point of this conversation was that I have to do something over the winter with the heated clothing, and I was thinking about doing like the North Coast 500, like in January or something.
Yeah,
just go up and do it. You have to be quite careful because it can be a little bit icy. So cold and wet I'm fine with, but when it gets icy, then it's a different kettle of fish, isn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're warm, if your tyres aren't working, that's no good.
Yeah, definitely. Right, so we've answered that one, Dave. Cheers for that one, pal. Next one, Johnny Hackinson. Hi to both. A couple of years ago, I met Shaun in Germany on my way home from Portugal. A very nice guy. Next year, I had a plan to ride to Japan through Turkey, Iran, the Stans, Russia, North and South Korea before a ferry to Japan. Obviously, I have to postpone that trip, but I will still be doing a long trip. I've 12 weeks, and I'm thinking of doing Greece and the Balkans, then over to Spain, take the ferry to the UK for Wales and Scotland before returning to Sweden. What would you focus on if you had the opportunity to travel Europe for 12 weeks? Best wishes from Sweden. Oh, that's a good one, Johnny.
Yeah,
12 weeks in Europe.
Johnny was a really nice guy, and he does obviously 20 times more than what I do mileage-wise. The guy rides all over the show. I don't know. That's probably a question that I can't answer because he travels way more than I do. So what am I gonna say?
Do you follow him on socials? Have you seen his garage build, his man cave build?
He was one of my patrons, so I'm sure he jumped ship a while ago. I'm not sure what happened there. But yeah, he messaged me when he was over in Germany. We met up in, where did we meet? I think it was in Hanover. We stopped at a bike shop and we had a plate of chips and a chat.
Nice.
I think he had, what was he on? I think he was on a Yamaha MT Tracer, I think he was on. And he'd done so many miles on the thing. But his bike definitely looked like it had done so many miles. But he's just a guy that just rides and rides and rides. So I don't know, Johnny. That's not a question that I can answer. You're a massive traveller, or much more than what I am. So
yeah, but there must be, even if you've never been there must be places that you would like to go in Europe. You know, are there like places where, let's just say, money, time, and logistics no object. So let's just say we could go. Right, Shaun, you're there. Where would you want to go on the bike?
I mean, for me, I'd, maybe sort of from Germany into France, down to Spain, across then east into Switzerland, into the Alps, maybe into sort of Croatia and sort of back up. I don't know. I'm a kind of because of my military time that I did, I visited so many nasty places. Then that's kind of ruined the. Although I left home when I was 16 and I just wanted to travel, so I sort of joined the military, and that's what happened. But there was a lot. I mean, it was a good time. You know, I enjoyed myself, but there was a lot of negativity involved, and that kind of ruined my sort of aspect on life of wanting to travel. So I wouldn't want to go any further than Europe. As I said, sort of into France, Spain, across into Switzerland and the Alps, and then back up, sort of do a big loop. But that would probably be as far as I go. For me, going any further afield into places that probably aren't so desirable. I mean, I know on your trip, you went into a lot of places where, they possibly had a bad rap for being dangerous, and you had no problems whatsoever. But I've seen the other sides of places that I wouldn't want to ever want to set foot in again. So that's just I'm 100%. I'm burnt in that sort of aspect of things.
I totally get that. Obviously, the military, you're going to see things on a scale to a different degree, but certainly in the old bill, you have experiences dealing with people and places and events which normal people don't. And I think that's probably the closest you'll get to being in a conflict zone in the military at times. And it does taint you. I totally get you. It taints you. It taints your opinion of certain people, of certain cultures, for sure, 100%. Yeah. The best thing I've ever done in my life was travel to those places. To the places that perhaps normally you wouldn't go. They're not the tourist places. You're not flying in, jumping on a bus and going to a nice hotel and resorts. You're traveling through countries. You're meeting people. You see everything. You breathe it. You smell it. You experience it, warts and all. The best thing I've ever done in life, because it changed my perception of people, changed my perception of, certainly, I'll put this out there, changed my perception of the Muslim faith of Islam, because everything up to that point had been very negative. It was the constant threat, and things even developed further in the UK after my trip. But having traveled to Muslim countries and meeting, people that follow the Islam faith, it clicked with me. These people are no different. No matter what country, what language, what people eat, what gods they worship, what beliefs they have, the people are no different, essentially. In the 99.9% of the time, they're exactly like us. They want to look after their own, they want to look after their families, and they'll help when they can.
There's good in every country and in every sort of people, but obviously I was put in a position where there wasn't any of that. So that obviously that puts it in a different perspective, and then kind of sort of ruins the or for later in life to travel to places that I'd already been to, where it was all sort of doom and gloom. But yeah, I mean, I think to answer his question, if I was 12 weeks on the road, it'd definitely be, yeah, I mean, for me to get, I'd love to go to Spain. I haven't been down there yet, just for the fact that I'd need to chuck at least 2 or 3 weeks at it from where I live, to sort of have a good time with it down there. So yeah, for 12 weeks, then that'd be fine. So I'd probably travel down from here through to France into Spain, and then go east, Switzerland, Austria, go even further east, and then sort of do a big loop up the top, back down. So yeah, that'd be an amazing trip. I'd love to do that. I'd love to go for that at the time, but maybe later on in life I can get that done. But with the rugrats that I've got running around here and the amount of them, yeah, that to travel for that at the time for me at the moment. So it's not something I can do, but maybe later on I can do something like that.
I think for me, I've done quite a lot of. I've travelled fairly extensively through the main European type countries, and I would like to do. I'd like to do Eastern Europe, the Balkans, but I'd love to go down to Greece and then into Turkey. Down the east and down into the southeast part of the sort of European Union. So I think that's where I'd aim for, Johnny. Me personally is head down that way for sure. But it's weird because I think maybe a lot of sort of Middle to Eastern European people, such as, people like yourself that live in Germany, Sweden, all those sort of countries, you're already over that way. I appreciate it's totally different life and totally different countries, but you're already over that way. So for you, you're probably thinking of heading west, aren't you? The UK, blah, 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 all these sorts of places. But for me, I really would love to do a road trip down to Greece in particular. I'd love to
I'd love to go to Sardinia.
Yeah.
The dealership that I bought my Beamer off, they do about 15 tours throughout the year, from day trips to weekenders, weeks in the Alps, and they do every year a 2-week Sardinian, and everybody raves about it. It's the best place to ride. The grip is unbelievable. In a week, your set of tires is done, but the grip's unbelievable. There's nobody there. The hotels are really nice. So I think I'd like to get down there. That'd be nice.
Did Andy not do Sardinia? Has Andy not done to Sardinia?
No, I don't remember he did.
Did he not do there? I thought he did a trip there. Well,
maybe. I don't know. Maybe I missed it, but I don't think he did.
What's the one below Slovenia? Was it Croatia? Is that Croatia that's below Slovenia?
Yeah, he did a series in Croatia, I'm sure.
That was with his dad, wasn't it?
Yeah, part of it. Yeah.
Oh, maybe it's that one I'm thinking of. I thought he'd done Sardinia for some reason.
Sardinia, I'd love to get there.
Yeah, nice. There you go, Johnny. I mean, we're so lucky. I'm saying we're not part of the EU anymore here in the UK, but within Europe itself, I mean, certainly I think for me personally, I'm more aware of how accessible everywhere is now. Now that the UK is split from the EU, it's still easy to travel. It is still very, very easy to travel, but it was even easier before. And we are very fortuitous in Europe. And I think a lot of the time we maybe take that for granted. Certainly in the UK, I think we take it for granted a little bit, how easy it is just to jump across the channel and bang, you just have this massive landmass to explore. Well, I mean, it literally is, because once from the UK, once we've crossed into France, you can ride all the way to Vladivostok without leaving land. It's possible. So it's pretty fortuitous position to be in. Make the most of it. Whatever you do, Johnny, make the most of it, mate.
12 weeks in Europe is going to be good anyway, isn't it?
Mega. And your man cave is phenomenal. It's pretty special. Michael, hey, gents, greetings from Canada. Oh, look, we've gone proper global today.
Massive.
How you doing, Michael? Shaun, love the new S1000 XR. Looking forward to more BMW content. Bruce, I'm currently typing this with greasy fingers. I've been feasting on fish and chips. No thanks to your last salivating yet giggle-inducing lamb chops big hunts video. It was mega, pal. Cheers. Thank you very much, Michael. Glad you enjoyed it. Right. So here's the scenario and then the question to you both. Hypothetical road trip. You've got an ultimate guys weekend bike getaway planned. The hotels are booked. The route is mapped. Your bike is full of petrol and the pack top bulbs are fully charged. My question, who are your top 3 blokes you'd have on your trip? It can be anyone, alive, dead, celebrity, actor, sports star, political figure, excluding anyone in the motorcycle industry and other vloggers.
Oh, damn. Well, I'll let you answer that one quick, Bruce. I'm going to go and drain the main vein.
Righto, on you go. We are filming this live, people. Right, so my top 3, who would they be? Right, I think I would want Billy Connolly. It's the big one. I've got to have Billy Connolly. I've had questions like this before, haven't I? Sheesh. I need to be a bit more drunk, so I'm thinking more freely. Definitely. So I'd have Billy Connolly. Who else would I want to have a good chat with? Well, this pops into my mind, Sir Ranulph Fiennes, because my brother took his father-in-law and my father, and his obviously being that he's my brother, he took them for an evening with Sir Ranulph Fiennes, and my dad, who is the most sort of blank person you'll ever meet. He doesn't give anything away, my dad. My dad was blown away by it and said it was fantastic. So I think I'd probably like Sir Ranulph Fiennes. Sir Ranulph Fiennes, the big one, and who else to come away with me? Do you know what I think? I know he's a bit of a polarized figure, but Joe Rogan, just because if you listen to his podcasts, he's not what the media portray him to be. You know, they make him out to be some sort of far right thug, and he's not. He's very liberal. He's got a very balanced point of view on things, and very, very educated in all manner of different topics, to the extent where he knows facts and figures and names about lots of different things. So there you go, Shaun. Here's mine. The big one, Billy Connolly.
Oh, Diamond.
Sir Ranulph Fiennes.
Yeah.
Sir Ranulph Fiennes and Joe Rogan.
Okay. Yeah. I'm with you on Billy Connolly. That'd be amazing.
Because I think even without me, the 3 of them could sit and have an amazing conversation together. And I could just sit there going, oh.
Okay. I'd probably go, don't know if I can say this, probably go with Adolf Hitler just to see what the crap was. I love my German history.
That was in a recent Joe Rogan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, somebody mentioned it about.
Yeah,
they had a similar question to this, and the guest brought up and said, "You know what? I would just want Adolf Hitler, so I could go.
Just
what were you thinking? Yeah, what were you? What was the plan there?
What was?
Well, we know what his plan was, but what was the thinking behind it? Like, are you real?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably take Donald Trump for the crack. See what's going on there.
Would you?
Yeah.
That's this podcast flagged. God.
And probably something to look at. What did I say last time we came on? Catherine Hegel would probably just to have a good chat, something to look at.
You're such a chauvinist. Shocking. Not pieces of meat. So Michael, he said his example. Here's my 3: Arnold Schwarzenegger, Steve McQueen, and Joe Rogan.
Oh, that's good. So yeah, Steve McQueen. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's people like Rossi. There's so many. Does it have to be 3, Michael? God, I think I could have 33.
Yeah, it would be a massive get together.
Wow. Oh, I'm thinking of loads of other people now. Yeah,
it'd be difficult. You definitely have to write a massive list down and narrow it down to your 3.
Yeah, they change. There'll be people who go, in episode blah, 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 you said you'd want these people. Oh,
you mentioned Adolf Hitler.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
You get owned for that.
That's all yours, and that is going in the trailer. Last one of the Patreon, Martin Yoxall. How you doing, Martin? Hi, all. I hope you're both well. Is Shaun going to spray the BMW orange so he can still wear his leathers? Just teasing. My question is, what was your biggest crash and what did you learn from it? Perhaps Bruce and Shaun can do a currywurst big hunt or currywurst big hunt. Love you more. Bye. Thanks, Martin. So, biggest crash and what did you learn?
I've never crashed, Bruce. I don't know.
Really?
No.
I hate to hear that. I genuinely hate to hear that.
Yeah, people say always you don't know your limits until you've crashed a few times.
It'll happen at some point.
I mean, I've crashed on, I crashed the other week riding pit bikes and whatnot, but I've never crashed on the road. But that's true.
I haven't watched that vid yet, mate. How much fun is it? Tell me how much fun that is.
Amazing,
I've not watched it yet.
I don't know. I booked on again in the end of January, but I don't know if I'm going to film it again because it just doesn't. People just don't want to watch it for some reason. It's
really
bizarre, but it's so much fun. I mean, the first time I did, I've done, 3 videos on pit bike riding, but it's amazing fun. And the first time I ever went on one, I think I went with a few mates. We all crashed so many times because the idea of it is just to get on these tiny little machines and just ride like an idiot. But you have to, your riding technique has to be on point. It's more so than when you ride on the bike. It's proper sort of track day riding, although it's only small little pokey little things. Your technique has to be on board, otherwise you crash. And I did so many times. But yeah, nobody seems to enjoy watching it. So I don't know. As I said, I've booked again on the end of January, but I don't know whether I'll film it or not. I don't know. But I've never crashed on the road though. But that's true of bikes and cars. I've never had an accident since 17 years of age when I started driving.
Bloody hell! Fair play to you. I'll come back to that, but this is what I was talking about earlier, where I said to me it feels like you've upped your game massively. Your thumbnails, I think, are superb. They grab me. They do exactly what a thumbnail is meant to do. So
yeah, that's the idea of it, isn't
and
it?
that recent pit bike one, I've not watched the vid yet because I just haven't. I've not had time. I've been on an editing marathon the last week, but it's definitely one that I've whacked in my old watch later doodah, and I will be watching it because the thumbnail grabbed me. I just saw it and thought that looks a load of fun.
I mean, from that day we did, there's not much sort of commentary in it. I just sort of, I was going a bit. I've been new to the Insta360 crew the last sort of 2 months, so I used a lot of Insta360 in the footage, but a bit of music in there, but nothing too much. I wasn't banging on the entire day. So, it's like anything that I like to do. A good thumbnail has to be on the top of the list. But yes, for me, photography, that's probably the main. As I said to you before, photography was more of an interest than filming, but it used to be. So if you can put the two together, then it helps, obviously. But
so your thumbnail, let's just go with a pit bike one.
Yeah,
is that from the 1X2? Is that just a screenshot?
But it's obviously heavily edited.
I was going to say it's phenomenal. Yeah.
But I use Photoshop and Adobe Lightroom to edit pictures, and you can do a hell of a lot with them. So yeah, that's obviously edited. But yeah, I mean, straight out of the camera, you'd be sort of happy with it ish. But I edit every photo. So.
I tend to find that I got sent again. The PR companies are on a massive drive, aren't they? So I got sent the 1X2, and I've been really impressed with.
I love it.
Just the plain reliability of it, because I bought the 1X before, and I've had no end of issues with it, to the extent where I pretty much had chucked it to the back of the drawer and was never ever going to use it again, because fucking thing, it didn't like vibration. So I took it to so many track days, and it couldn't cope with being on a bike on a track day. It was just shit. I kept corrupting files and all sorts.
Oh, really?
The 1X2, not a single issue so far.
I mean,
it's been phenomenal.
I've had a couple of things on the 1X2, but nothing major.
Have you?
But my review of that is coming out sort of end of November. But I love it. What? I love the thing.
What issues have you had?
While filming, regardless, not changing any camera settings whatsoever, as soon as you come to edit the footage on some files, there's no steady state stabilization on it. It's just missing in the software, and it's pretty much unusable than the footage. But regardless of, let's say I'd have five video files, one of them will have no steady state stabilization on, or even in the software, the option to turn it on, off, to lock the direction, it's all missing. So I've been in chats last week with Insta360 because they've never heard of it. So I've had to send them all kinds of info and whatnot, because they obviously want to make sure that's not a thing. But yeah, I've heard a couple of things, but that's probably the only thing, to be honest. But other than that, it's amazing. I mean, I was late to the game with 360 cameras. Because I think, I don't know, the general consensus with 360 cameras is that you film in 360 and people just make videos and just spin their footage round and round until somebody's sick in their knickers.
Or they go to that tiny planet bollocks. Oh, it just annoys me.
But just I then jumped on board. I said, I was a bit on the fence with it all, but okay, I'll test it. But it's just the fact that it films in 360 degrees and you can then decide or choose how it then looks. It doesn't necessarily have to mean that you just spin your footage around all day long. But I think you can get some
great shots and angles, can't you?
Definitely. But that's the general. There's a lot of negativity behind it. It's because some people have obviously gone to town with it and gone overboard with it all, and people just then have decided that 360 cameras are not to be watched.
Right, let's get back on track here. Biggest crash. So you've never crashed. No. Fair play to you. I hope it stays that way, mate. I genuinely do. I've had quite a few. I would say my biggest ever crash was in Germany. Day after I did the Nürburgring, I was in the Black Forest, and I spoke about it before. I had a massive crash that I simply shouldn't have survived. I should be dead. Really? But that didn't have that much of an impact on me. I've got to say, it didn't really slow me down much. I've never ridden thinking, I'm pushing me luck here. I've always felt totally in charge. I've always felt well within my comfort zone. But I used to ride, that crash was at 130 odd mile an hour around a blooming bend with my knee on the deck. I'm not capable of doing that anymore, and I would never ride like that anymore. But at that point, I was totally comfortable with riding like that, flat out everywhere. That's just how I used to ride. But now, I think the crash that has had the biggest impact on me, I think the crash in Japan on the world trip, that probably has had the biggest impact. I think that crash, more than any other, has slowed me down and changed my riding. I think because it's on film and I can watch it. I can watch it back, and it's different because in your head something happens, and in your head you go, oh, it happened because of this. Yeah. And there's no other evidence to suggest it didn't happen any other way. That's the way it happened. Whereas you can watch it and go, oh, that's not what happened. Like, it's weird.
I think you're in a sort of different league of. I mean, if you ride around the world, you gotta even before you set off, you're pretty much guaranteed that you're going to crash once or twice at some point. Mm-hmm. Whether it's bad, whether it's small, at some point you're going to come off the thing. If you're doing that amount of miles, then something will happen. Obviously, for me, that's I didn't do the mileage that you would have done on your trip. But you've had a couple of offs in the UK, right?
I have, yeah. And again, it goes back to this thing where I said I've never consciously ridden outside of my comfort zones. I've always felt totally in charge and I can react to anything that's going on. But I just found I had a horrendous period, sort of 2016 to, I think it was 18, commuting in and out of work, where things were happening and either I didn't react or I couldn't react quick enough to what was going on round about me. And I ended up, there was a simple one I remember, Old Kent Road, coming up to some traffic lights. And I did the shoulder check. Those that say I never do. I did the shoulder check to make sure there was nothing behind me. And I moved into the inside lane, the lane one of, say, 3. But as I did that, the car in front slammed his brakes on because the one in front of him slammed his brakes on. So as I've done that and come round, this car's now, boom, there. It was literally like this. That was it. But in that time, that car slammed his brakes on and I just had to quickly try and swerve out the way, but I clipped his rear light cluster and I literally cracked his rear light, and it exploded the front of my Triumph Explorer. Like, the whole front fairing and light cluster on that model was held on with one sort of plastic strut held on the whole front unit, headlight cluster and everything, the dash, everything. So where it's hit the side of the back sort of quarter of the car, it just snapped that off, and the whole thing just fell off. Yeah. So that was one where it's not massive damage to them or me, but big damage to the bike, costly, like $4,000, I think that was. And that started playing in my mind, like, oh shit, I couldn't react in time to that. And then I had one where I was coming down the outside of a bus, again in Deptford, thinking I can react to anything that goes on in front of me here. I'm fine. Well, a young lad did a U-turn right in front of the bus, and okay, if he carried on going, I'd have been fine. But he saw me and panicked and stopped, and I just caught the back of his car. Again, not my fault, but again, I thought I was traveling at a speed that I would be able to react, and I didn't react the way I thought I would. Yeah. And then the last one, I had a nurse pull out on me. She's in the side street, and she just pulled out, and again, I thought I would be able to react, and I was going at a speed that would allow me to. Yeah, I couldn't, and that properly. I nearly lost my left arm in that. The nerve was dead for about 4 months. So they had a big impact. They've slowed me right down, massively slowed me down.
I think it depends on obviously your environment as well. Obviously, you're doing a lot of sort of London city riding, commuting. Yeah. Obviously, it adds risk. I don't commute at all. All the riding I do is purely fun miles. A lot of the time I'm in, Germany or down in the Alps where traffic is lessened than, city riding. You're going to expect to have some sort of issue over the years, but I've never been in that situation where, I'm, in heavy traffic or heavy city riding or commuting to anywhere or to work. That's something I've never had. So, yeah, I don't know. It depends on the environment you're riding as well. But
it was weird though, because I've always commuted. I'd always commuted. I don't commute anymore, but I'd always commuted in London and never had an issue. Yeah. And up until that point, I'd probably knocking on, if not more than 500,000 miles in those sort of 7-8 years. I'd done a lot of miles and not had really any issues at all. And then in the space of 3 years, I had I think three different incidents. Yeah. And I think that definitely is what has had the biggest impact on me. It's just realizing maybe it's age. Maybe my reactions have slowed. Maybe my reactions have slowed down compared to what they were. I don't know. I don't know.
I've had plenty of near misses. I nearly hit a cow in Switzerland, and I went under a cement truck in Austria. Its potential to have a major off has been there. I binned it into a field on my Honda that I had a few years ago, but I stayed on it. You said
you've never had a crash. That's a crash.
Sure. Yeah, but I stayed on it. That's not a crash if you stay on.
It's still a crash.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
I didn't hit anything. I just rode it into a field.
In that case, the one where I clipped the light cluster, that's not a crash. And the one where the guy did the U-turn and bent my handlebars to that's not a crash.
That's a crash. You hit something. I didn't hit anything. I just rode it into a field.
You tell my insurance company that.
Nothing happened. I just stayed on.
Okay, right. So you've never, ever, ever had a crash. Sheesh. Right.
Just pit biking.
Just pit bike. I'm going to watch that vid. Right. That's us done with the clan. Are you all right for time just now?
Yeah, no worries.
Awesome. Right. We'll pop across to Instagram and Facebook. But first, a big shout out to the Influencer Store. Now, I'm going to read this one. The Influencer Store helps you build your brand, big or small, providing you with a solution and apparel. We help you to increase your fan base while supporting you with starting your own influencer clothing line with nothing more than just an idea or design. And there are no hidden costs. For more info, come check us out at theinfluencerstore.co.uk or drop us an email at online@influencerstore.co.uk for more information. Now, the Influencer Store handle all my merch over at TeapotOne.com. everything over there now is handled by them. Nothing is kept by me or shipped by me. It's all done by them. So if you've bought any merch, you'll know the quality that we're talking. I used to use Teespring. In fact, we can chat about this. Do you use Teespring or Spreadshirt or anyone like that for your merch?
Yeah.
Use Spreadshirt. Have you had any negative comments from people? Yeah. I did as well. I used to use Spreadshirt and I used Teespring. Because Teespring integrates really well with YouTube, or it did. I don't know if it still does.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
I had people contacting me saying, I've washed this shirt 3 times, 4 times, and it's either the decals are coming off or they've faded, or the quality of the shirt, there's holes in it, blah, 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 blah. So, I was chatting with Richie Vida, about his merch, because his stuff is good quality, and he pointed me towards Roger that does Influencer Store, and I've moved to them. Okay, I'll be blunt, you don't make the same cut from it as you would from like Spreadshirt or Teespring, but the quality's a lot better, definitely a lot better. Gotta be that.
So, I mean, a lot of people that never even washed some of their shirts, hoodies. It came in the post brand new, faded.
Really?
So it's going to need to get looked at. But as a lot of people have commented anyway, I need to sort of obviously have a look at my logo situation. So
you've still got the old one.
So that's going to have to get looked at, and then once I've done that, then I can sort of look into the sort of merch thing. But I'd be happy to sort of change. So we can chat about that off camera if you want.
Mate, I'll pass you on to them. No problem at all. Yeah, they're being a bit more selective now, because they did sort of open the door to loads of different people, and they're getting all sorts. But
are they UK based?
They are, they're UK based, and they manufacture everything there in the UK as well.
That's an issue, tax wise, Brexit and all that sort of business.
Is it? Of course, Brexit
potentially, yeah.
Well, it's worth having a chat, because I think they have. I think they have a German car guy on. I think on their books, so it'd be worth having a chat with them.
Yeah,
we'll chat about that afterwards.
Sure.
Right, cool. Next one. We're chatting about your logo, your new Likeable Rider logo. That's awesome. I know it's just text, but it's brilliant, and that is screaming out for T-shirts and merch and stuff like that, for sure.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I need to look at the main logo. It's obviously got the front end of a Super G car on it, so that's going to have to change. And I'll probably do something with the other one, the Likeable Rider sort of text. Probably have that revamped by Matt. We've already been in chat, so I'm sure that's going to happen.
Nice. Good. Yep. Hey, Matt's gone a bit quiet on my. Are you still there, Matt? I don't know if you're still there. It's gone quite quiet. He used to comment all the time.
I think he changed his. Insta profile name. I'm not sure. I'm sure.
Has he?
Yeah, I think it's something different now. But yeah, I think he's busy riding. He's been doing some sort of rallies and whatnot. Good. He's been a busy boy.
Right, folks, that's us done with the patron questions. We'll head on over to Facebook. So that's facebook.com/TeapotOne. I'll leave all Shaun's social links and stuff down below as well, folks. First one, motor underscore MA77. Hi, lads. Hope you're both well. What's been the best sub £100 you've ever spent? Also, what's the one motorbike accessory you couldn't be without? Can't wait for more content from you both. Oh, so say £100, €100. What's the best 100? I'm assuming this is bike related.
Yeah, we'd like to think so.
Bike related. Best hundreds, £100, €100 you've ever spent.
For me, it's fairly boring, but it's got to be. I always buy rad guards.
That's the German in you coming out. That is such a sensible reply.
But that should be, for me, that should be a factory item. Mm-hmm. Because especially on the XR, have you seen the size of the thing on the XR? It's massive.
Yeah.
And even on every bike I've ever bought, rad guard, before I even farted around with any other sort of accessories, I've always bought rad guards. It's kind of boring, but that's probably for me, that's the most well spent $100 that I always do on every bike ever.
God, that's boring, but it's so sensible.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. It should be factory, shouldn't it? It should be.
Yeah. I mean, whatever bike, pretty much whatever bike you buy, not all of them, but radiators are pretty much all within the firing line to get trashed.
Yeah, and if you get a hole in it, you're foobarred. So
yeah. Yeah, and a hole in the radiator isn't covered by warranty. There's a bit of a stone that flies into it. That's not covered under warranty.
Sorry. God, yeah, that's such a sensible answer. I can't compete
incredibly
with that.
boring, but that's probably the must for me.
And boring as well. Maybe not boring, but boring. Yeah. God, yeah, that's a good. I can't think of anything now. I mean, that you've nailed it, really. If your radiator goes, you're buggered, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean that comes before any sort of maybe axle sliders or crash bars or sort of any other sort of protection orientated stuff. Right,
a tire plugging kit. Always got one with me. It's always in my rucksack.
What does that cost you? $10?
No, I think it's. I think I have a link in my gear description down below. I think on Amazon. I used the Gremlin one, Gremlin Gear Junkie or something it's called. Can't remember. But it comes with 3 CO2 canisters. It comes with the plugging kit, the sort of gluey, sticky sticks, some glue, all that sort of stuff. Yeah,
I always carry one. It's definitely a must.
Oh, yeah. And even if I've been lucky that I've not really had that many punctures personally, but if you're group riding and someone else gets a puncture, you can just plug it up and it's enough. It's not fail safe.
It's emergency to get you to some sort of help.
Yeah. Gets you somewhere where there's either a garage and they can replace the tire or you can get you to help.
It stops you having to be recovered if you haven't blown the arse out of it.
Absolutely, 100%. So yeah, some sort of tire plugging kit. Look at us, Captain Sensible.
Yeah.
Oh,
they're old.
I was going to say 60 quid in Prague, but I'm not going to mention that. So, Roscoe Wills, 12. Any tour plans for next year? Yes.
Shit. Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, well, I mean, I was planning to come to the UK the last 2 years, and that didn't happen.
And what happened?
Yeah, I don't know. Somebody started licking trolleys and giving people diseases. Licking the handles on trolleys at Tesco's.
Okay, so let's assume the plague isn't going to return or get any worse.
I mean, because obviously UK. I mean, not for the fact. I just want to come to UK because I haven't done yet on the bike, and I want to meet, especially I want to meet up with you, and I'd love to meet Lamb Chops and Teapot and Richie, and just sort of get in and amongst
I'm Teapot.
The vlogging scene, but just to sort of meet up with some subs as well. Not so much for obviously for the riding, but just to come to the UK and just to meet a lot of the people that I've been promising to do the last couple of years. But on the flip side of that, I've not now then been to the Alps for 3 years. I normally do an Alps tour once a year, so that's not happened either because I'd obviously planned to come to UK, which I went down the Kazi. So I think I'd definitely still like to get to UK next year, but maybe do another one and do the Alps as well because I've just not been there for so long. So that's probably the main 2 that need to get done for next year. Whether that will happen or not, I don't know. Whether the situation will change, nobody knows. But yeah, that's the main. I think on top of the list would be to come to UK.
Oh, that's good to hear, man. Well, definitely let us know when you're doing that, and we'll sort something out for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. For me, I mean, I've wanted to do. I'm almost at the stage where I've booked the tickets, but I want to do a week in either America or Canada, and a week in India next year. That's my plan. Is to do. I want to do a week-long tour. Stateside, America side, and definitely India. That's 2 places I really want to head to next year. I want to do, I mean, this is all if someone gives me a blank check, obviously I need to sort finances out for this to happen.
For sure.
But I also want to do Ireland, because I've been saying I'm going to Ireland for about the last 2 years, 3 years, and obviously that's not happened yet. Sean's disappeared. I bored him to sleep.
No, now it's getting dark. Right. We liked overexposing.
Overexposing. Look at you. So Ireland's definitely in the pipeline. I'm off to the Canaries with Canary Motorcycle Tours. I'm off there in next week. So by the time you listen to this, I will be over there enjoying myself, hopefully. And then I have a Slovenia series with them, which I filmed back in 2019. I've still got to edit. So that'll be coming out before they start launching their Slovenian tours. So I'd love to go back to Slovenia as well, if possible, and Croatia and all these sorts of places. Toro, we're just starting to talk about another vlogger meet with myself and TMF, Chopsy, Dickie Vegas, Shaft.
Oh, mate, get me on that. I'm fucking dying to get down there.
I will do what I can then. We're trying to, and Two Wheels and a Ponytail as well. A bit of a vloggers meet. So I'll have a chat and see if we can maybe open the doors a little bit. So yeah, all the old faithfuls basically, trying to get back and get them going again. In terms of new content, Ireland, States, Canada, and India are top of my priority. Oh, and I'm over in the Isle of Man next year. I'm over for the full 2 weeks of the TT next year. So if you're coming, I'll see you there. Yeah, going to be a busy bloody year looking at it. Jesus.
That sounds pretty good to me.
It sounds amazing, mate. I've got no idea how I'm going to pay for any of it, but, I will.
What are you doing at the TT?
Just camping. Mark Fulcher that gave us a question there. Fulcher's been pushing it for a couple of years, saying, come on. So I was like, yeah, all right, I'll do it. And before I knew it, he'd booked ferry. He'd stayed up all night. So as soon as the ferries were released, he'd bought the ferry tickets for us and gone, right, I've bought you a ticket. Here's my bank account details. And he's also booked the camping as well. So
you're probably just going to watch, not sort of... I'm just going as a punter. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Mate, everyone thinks this. Oh, you must get offered. Look, I get offered bugger all. Nobody contacts me about it.
It could have been, but that's awesome. I mean, half of my family live on the Isle of Man.
Do they? Oh man, whereabouts?
Probably maybe sorting out some accommodation.
Hi, Sean. Hi.
I'd probably have to come. Come. My auntie, uncle, my cousins, they all live there.
I cannot wait to get back over. I went 2014, and that's the last and only time I've been, and I loved it. So I can't wait to get.
Last time I was there was 2 or 3 years ago, but just for my cousin's wedding. But I drove I went around the circuit in the car because I'd not been for many years. We went as sort of small kids. I went to the TT 3 or 4 times, but it's become so massive. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I think for the money that you'd spend to get there. I mean, I've been already a few times. If you've never been, it's definitely something that you have to have seen and done and
it's a bucket list thing, isn't it?
Definitely. But whether I would say ride here with the bike over to there, because we're talking that's a lot of money. Talking a ferry, Rotterdam Hull, a ferry from Liverpool to the Isle of Man. For that money, you could be riding the bike yourself rather than watching somebody else do it. But it's definitely something that you have to have been to and seen. And even, it's gone are the days now. Obviously, they open up the circuit before race week, so you can ride around the circuit yourself. But the year I was there was so many thousands of people there. And even the times that people could ride around before race week, it was all walking pace.
No. In 2014 when I did it, I think it was the Sunday. We did it. We had a thing for Marco Simoncelli. It was the first year after, or second year after he'd passed away. We did a tribute lap to him. So there was thousands of people. So everyone did that trundle round, but then you could, just go as Joe Blogs. And I remember the back section over on the west of the island, heading up towards Ramsey, where it's all 50 mile an hour limits and stuff. that was really through the woods and stuff. It's really bumpy. But then you get to the mountain section, and I mean, it's just unlimited. You just open it up. It's all one way. It was, it's still one way at that point. But you could just open it up and go, and it was great fun. It's one of the best experiences I think I've had on a bike.
If you've never been, then it definitely should be on the list for something to do. Yeah. But obviously now it's become so big, you've got to, I think it's 2 years in advance, you need to be booking accommodation and ferries and whatnot, because it's just become so mega.
Ferries you can get like for that year, but literally when the website opens up to take bookings for that year's Isle or the next year's Isle of Man, you've got to, it's like a big concert, pop concert, like a big concert. You've literally got to be there in the first hour, otherwise you're not getting any.
Accommodation, you got to be on the ball with that.
That's why we're camping. It's just, I mean, to be honest, it's going to be 2 weeks of drinking a heck of a lot and
you just get hammered for 2 weeks. Yeah, definitely.
That's pretty much it. Just throwing up in a tent and peeing out the side of my tent. That's pretty much me for 2 weeks.
I'd probably not do it in the tent, but sure you be. So well,
sometimes, Shaun, these things happen, especially with age and beer. Right. So, Roscoe Wills 12. It's going to be a busy year by the sound of it for both of us.
Hopefully. Hopefully.
Well, that's not the attitude, Shaun. It will be. It will be. Focus. It's going to happen. Book stuff now. And then it's in the diary, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I've got to pay attention to the wife and kids, and I've got to keep them happy as well. So if I hadn't had that, then I'd be doing more than what I'd be doing now.
Shaun, I've got a dog now. I've got commitments at home. Dog's like a kid
that you can leave with your wife.
Yeah, but the thing is, we can't. Well, I can leave her with my wife, but I can't leave her with my wife all the time. You know what I mean? It's like, 1 week away means 3 months of me being at home all the time, looking after the dog.
Can it not be an office dog?
Not in my wife's line of work. No, she basically does exactly what I used to do. So that's just not possible, sadly.
I've got 2 dogs.
Oh God, you've got to raise the bar a bit, haven't you? Sensible, boring. Oh, anyway. Right, next one. Peter Gange. Sorry, Peter. I pronounced your Gange. Peter Gange, 1969. Does Shaun regret selling the KTM?
Yes and no. Yes, because of the joy and the thrill that bike gave so many people by the sounds of it, from everybody else that I'd seen that had ridden it. Yes, for sure, definitely. But as we mentioned at the start of the podcast, it's just the whole package, the service, the ownership of a KTM is just not. It's just not up to standard. But I've always thought maybe I'm doing it an injustice. Maybe I'm being too harsh. Is it? No. Is it a pants service? Is it not? I don't know. But But then towards the end, I was thinking it is a pants service. I don't. Yeah. It's just something is missing from the whole experience. The bike can be amazing, but if you've got no backup from the manufacturer and from dealerships, then that can ruin the entire experience, regardless of how good the bike is or not.
Absolutely. Go on. Sorry.
Yeah. So yes, definitely I'll miss it for sure, because there's nothing like a good thumpy V-twin. The noise that it makes, the pure raw joy that bike, or not even just that bike, even my GT, the GT. Isn't that a tractor?
No.
No. The pure enjoyment factor from KTM is probably the best. With maybe a few stuff from Ducati, few bikes, but it's up there. But the service is not up to standard.
The thing, Ducati have really gone for it in terms of, you know, this age-old reputation of, you know, it's a Ducati, what do you expect? That used to be like not manufacturers, but that would be dealerships' attitude towards things. I know, because I have mates that have owned Ducatis and they've had issues with like paint peeling and issues with the bike. And when they've gone to the dealerships, the dealership attitude has been, it's a Ducati, what do you expect? That's insane. That's ridiculous.
That's terrible.
Ridiculous in this day and age to have it. We are spending a lot of money on these bikes these days. You're not talking like 8, 9, 10 grand, which is still a lot of lot, but you're talking double that and more for these
that's
sort
the main
of level
thing,
of bikes.
isn't it? They're so expensive.
Absolutely.
You shouldn't be expecting service like that.
And once you've experienced good service, whether that's through BMW or some other, you're lucky enough to have a dealership where they really give you good customer service. Once you've experienced that, then there's no excuse to get shit service from a dealership or a manufacturer at all in this day and age. There just shouldn't be. And I don't think we as consumers should put up with that. And you rightly so, by people making that conscious decision to move from one product to another product, a brand to another brand, based on that, then I think that's the way to go. You know, we've got to show the manufacturer, you need to pull your finger out here, because although the product you're making is fantastic and in many ways superior to others' competition, the end product with your dealer network and what goes with it, that experience just isn't living up to it, and that's what's holding KTM back.
But isn't it so sad? I mean, not even sort of manufacturer side of things. Isn't it so sad how an experience and an ownership of a bike can be ruined by, say, one or two people in staff in a dealership? That are just shit or not friendly or not helpful. I mean, it's not just, you know, it's not, you hear it all the time. It's not just that manufacturers. There's so many dealerships are naff. I mean, you know, obviously people rave about BMW service, but I'd imagine, and people have commented, you know, some BMW service or dealerships on areas of where people live, I'd imagine they've had a disaster, but just due to one or two members of staff. But you're going to get that. I mean, that's not avoidable, is it? But I think when just the whole package doesn't sort of, or the whole KTM service experience doesn't fit, then I can't stay, which is a shame.
Yeah, no, I get you. Right, next one, Jim McTavish. Do you think you guys will ever own a cruiser someday? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, just park it next to the Benz.
What cruiser would you have?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know nothing about it. It's just not something that I would ever consider.
There's two proper, what I would consider like poster cruisers I've ridden. One's the Triumph Rocket 3 and the other one's the Fat Boy. And for me, the Harley Fat Boy. And for me, the best bike out of them, like the best product, is the Rocket 3. Phenomenal. But the bike I'd buy, I think, is the Fat Boy. I think.
Okay.
I think the Fat Boy, it put a smile on my face, just chugging along. You know, a lot of the time I was thinking, fucking hell, I'm going for it round this bend, you know, and you're scraping the floorboards. I'd look down and I was doing like 45, 50 mile an hour in the 60, and you're like, I'm not even at the speed limit. You know? But I was loving the experience of riding it. Whereas the Rocket 3 was just like, oh my God, this thing is powerful and it's solid and you could feel the quality of the build in this bike and the power of it, but you are definitely not doing the speed limit. You know? I mean, for me, it's just not something that I'd ever. I mean, obviously, for me here in Germany, it's obviously, as we spoke about before, it's difficult for test rides and whatnot. But it's obviously not an area then that I'd even, well, not that I wouldn't consider, but obviously, if I want to do a test ride, I turn up at a Triumph dealership and want to test ride the Speed Triple RS and have to pretend that I'm interested in that bike, and then come back on that test ride and say, I wouldn't mind taking the Rocket out though.
they're going to be looking at me thinking, "Oh, what do you want here? Do you want an RS or do you want a rocket?"
I would certainly in the UK that wouldn't be anything out of the ordinary, because people take all manner of different bikes out just to sort of try and narrow down. Just go to the dealership and go, not really sure. I'm thinking about either of these. I'm not sure which one's going to do it for me. Can I take both out?
But I think from looks wise, I think what's the Ducati's Cruiser? What's that?
The I've not ridden that yet. I really want to shot that.
Just from pure looks, I mean, I know, was it TMF he didn't rate the ride, but just from how that thing looks, it looks awesome. Then I'd probably like a shot on that more than probably the rocket. But
yeah, no, I definitely want to try the Diavel for sure. Yeah, I know people that have ridden. Maybe not necessarily all three. I think people that I've spoken to, they've done the rocket and the Diavel, and they rate the Diavel over the rocket. But I'd be interested to try for myself and just see. But I mean, Cruiser for sure. If I had the money, it definitely would. I would definitely have one in the garage for sure. Next one, Gav Freeman, 6435. For both from your past careers in the military and the Met, disregarding camaraderie, what is the biggest thing you miss? Is there anything you found that replaces it? Keep chasing the horizon and all the best. That is a good question, Gav.
Yeah, I can pretty much answer that pretty quickly. I mean, obviously the thing that I miss the most is obviously probably the camaraderie in the male environment. I probably miss the most.
He says disregarding camaraderie. What's the biggest
disregarding that? Okay. Bugger.
So I'm the same. There's a saying certainly in the Met. It's probably globally in the old bill and probably military. You miss the clowns, but you don't miss the circus. So I miss the people that I worked with, but I don't miss the organisation. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, that's difficult to answer with that, with disregarding that, because that's probably the main.
No, don't interrupt.
That's probably the main thing. I mean, obviously, I was in a war zone 3 times, and that's what holds everything together. So to disregard that would be difficult to answer, because it sounds a bit cliche. They are your brothers. You can you go to war with these people, and you watch each other's backs and you treat them as such. Yeah. I don't know, to disregard that and to think of something else. Maybe the travel from the military, if that wasn't or the camaraderie wasn't in question. Probably the means of, or the being able to travel to places where you never go to, as a normal person, perhaps. That's possibly what I'd say. The travel, perhaps.
I think for me, what I miss is being involved in things normal people don't get involved with. I miss.
That was the order, isn't it?
Yeah, I miss those times, and they didn't happen anywhere near as much as I thought they would happen, and possibly where people think they may happen. I miss those times when you get involved in an incident, certainly in the old bill, where I would think to myself, this is why I joined this job. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing. And it could be anything from, I'm trying to think of, there's not that many in my sort of almost 20-year career that jump out at me, but things like, I don't know, you I mean, this happens on both sides of the fence, male and female, I appreciate. But a woman called because she's suffering domestic violence, and you turn up and you are that person that gets in there and you get them out of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, you turn up and you are the sort of savior. You are that safety element for that person. Whatever reason that they've called, you get there and you get them out of that situation. And the person, the perpetrator, that's the bad guy, or bad person is there, and you can nick them, and you can put them into the judicial system, and off they go. Who knows? It's a lottery as to what happens once they're in the judicial system. But you've done your job. You know, you've protected somebody.
The powers of the job that could potentially be lethal. Yeah, perhaps.
A genuine victim, and I'm saying this genuine because there are and I'm not just talking about domestic violence, I'm talking about people that dial 999. There are lots of people that shouldn't be calling for help, but they do. But for whatever reason, so somebody calls for help, and you are that help, and you provide help to that person, and you deal with it's not a guilty person because they're not guilty till they're found guilty at court, but you deal with the suspect and they're done. I miss that element of I've done something. I've actually earned my pay packet today. I do miss that.
For sure. For sure.
And the buzz of flying round London with the blues and twos going, nothing beats that. You know, it still put a smile on my face almost 20 years after joining. You know, you hit that woo-woo button and off you go. And I was so gutted to not experience that on the motorbikes because I'd done my test and I couldn't wait to do the blue light calls through London on my bike. But thanks to somebody watching one of my vids and Internal Affairs Inspector, it never happened. Never mind.
Again, a difficult to answer that question without the camaraderie, but maybe the guns, shooting guns is pretty good.
Yeah. Again, it's been involved in stuff that normal people don't get involved with, though, isn't it? Exactly. Yeah, sure,
although, you know, being in conflict and in war zones that I was in, although terrible at the time, again, when you come back and you've come back in one piece, that's something, you know, the sense of achievement is, like you say, it's that's probably up there.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good question, Gav, but taking camaraderie out, is such a huge part, especially particularly of the military. It's such a huge part of it, isn't it?
Yeah, because that's all you've got. All you've got is each other.
Yeah. I don't know if you'd do it if you didn't have that.
No, I mean, obviously we had some bell ends, you know, in and amongst the in amongst the mix, but generally, obviously they weed out the sort of the idiots amongst them. But yeah, it's a difficult one.
Sadly, that's something certainly in the Met in London at the moment, and I know nationwide throughout, certainly England and people I know in Scotland and stuff, and the old bill. That's something which is becoming prevalent now. Is that the crack has just been taken out of the job, and there's a new breed of people that are coming into the organisation that aren't like. They've not got the same. Yeah, they've not got the same mentality. They're just not the same type of people, and that camaraderie, that crack, that trust, it's just been eroded. It's just gone.
I think the main. I mean, I saw it in the military. The main, obviously, when health and safety then becomes a part of political correctness, it kind of that. Although yes, you've got to. You've got to provide some sort of protection for employees and whatnot, but definitely for the military, political correctness and health and safety never played a part at all when I first joined. And obviously that came in, years later on down the line, but that definitely ruined the experience of how things should be, because at some point, things just have to get done, regardless of how bad or good it looks, or how health and safety orientated it is. Things need to get done, and it just get done however it should get done. Just by the by,
the right thing is not necessarily the best thing or the most comfortable thing, and I think that's something which, unless you're put in a position to make that call, you just don't understand, do you? And it's very difficult for normal people who are never ever going to experience a side of life that perhaps you do in the military and emergency services and stuff. Everyone wants to comment on it, but there's not many people who are actually qualified to comment on it. And I think for me personally, this new breed of woke politics, which is coming through, where it's not about what's right and is wrong. It's about what is perceived as the current sort of key thing to say. What do people want us to do?
How's it going to look if we say this?
Yeah. And that should not come into, it shouldn't come into conflict, and it shouldn't come into law. It shouldn't come into what is right and is wrong. You know, you have rules of engagement. The old bill has law. You know, it's statutes written down. And I think, yes, we must be accountable. You have to be accountable for your actions. But situations can dictate things, maybe take a different course of events. And I think they've got to be taken into account. Yeah, definitely. Surely they have to be. It's difficult to talk about this without specific examples, isn't it? And I don't want to narrow down on specific examples, because I don't want to open up doors to anything else. But
no, we're not going to too political.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. But I think we've sort of swung too far now to being accountable for absolutely everything, and to make sure nobody's feelings are hurt about this and that, and we're addressing this and this and this. That does not come into, you know, has the law been broken here? Is that person's life in danger? At that very second, bang, you do the job, don't you? You do what has to be done. Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult to talk about unless you're in that. But anyway,
but it's true of any. It's true. Yeah, definitely. It's true of any sort of service, whether it's fire brigade, police, military. Everything's become way too sort of duty of care, political, health and safety.
I think all life has now, mate. All life is just.
And it's not what it used to be. And I wouldn't want to be in the military now. I wouldn't do it. Back in the day, yes, and I had a cracking time. But now, I mean, that's. As you're a prime example of that, probably one of the reasons, you know, I left. It wasn't what it used to be, and then draw a line and do it. But
you have, and then it's interesting to talk to newer people who are in, because those people maybe didn't experience. I remember joining 2002. No. I remember joining in 2002, in my first year or two, and through street duties as a probationer, thinking this is the best job in the world. I'm flying about the city with the woo, you know, being I couldn't drive with the woo-woos at that point, but I'm being driven around London. I'm turning up at stuff, running in, you know, boshing people, having fights, dealing with this and that, and catching burglars and dealing with rape. And, you know, you're just like the knight in shining armour running around London. And I was like, this is amazing. And the old sweat that sat next to me driving the car was just like, this job's fucked, son. The job's fucked. That's all it's a saying. The job is fucked. And, you know, they're remembering what it was like in the 70s and the 80s and when they joined. And obviously...
Well, you can give somebody a slap without...
everything has changed from their time. And I look back and think, what are you talking about? You know, this is awesome. Well, there's me 15, 20 years later. I'm like, oh, the job's fucked. You know, it's just crap. Whereas those new people that are joining, they don't remember they never experienced the old way.
Exactly.
All they know is the new way. So So I don't know. Maybe it's just us being old and crusty, mate. I don't know.
It could be.
Right. The Andy Burton. How many times has Shaun been asked, why did you get rid of the Super Duke?
Oh shit! Yeah, you have to watch the podcast from before. I think we've covered it, haven't we? Really?
Yeah, we have, mate. We have, absolutely.
I don't want to
next one. Hairy bearded biker. Great to see Shaun back on the podcast, and thank you, Bruce, for the best podcast around. Thank you very much. It's very kind of you. But check out Chasing the Racing. That is the best biking podcast. I'm thinking of riding from the Hook of Holland to the Grosslochner High Alpine Road next year. Can you recommend any places to see or stay on my way down? That's your manner, that is.
Yeah, but not so much though, because I mean, is he riding from UK? Is he?
Yeah, well, he's doing the Hook of Holland to Grosslochner.
Yeah, I mean, most people when they come from UK traveling to Germany or down into the Alps, most of them ride towards the Eifel and the Mosel in Germany, which is sort of the west side of Germany, and then down sort of Black Forest area, and then into the Alps. But so it's a bit more difficult for me to answer because I don't ride that way at all, to be honest. And that's the general way that people ride through when they come from the UK.
Have you done the Grosslochner?
Yeah, a few times. Yeah.
So, what from the way you've been, what would you recommend?
Yeah, I go east down. I mean, obviously, I travel southeast through through Germany, but that's the general way from coming from UK. They're sort of West Germany down towards Nürburgring. People do the Nürburgring, Eifel, the Mosel, and then down into the Alps. So I'm not sort of familiar with that area, but for places to stay and visit, I don't know. I mean, have you done it from Holland down into to the Alps?
No, I've not. I mean, the only time I've been to the Grosslochner was on the world trip, and I was coming from. I'd done Czech Republic, so I was coming back from there, and then I came back down through Germany. Yeah, got to the Grosslochner, and it was shut. they were resurfacing it, so it was shut. Okay. It was gutted. Yeah. So I've never actually ridden the Grosslochner.
Yeah, I mean the Grosslochner is
that's one to do next year.
Yeah, definitely. It's more sort of east Austria, but coming from the UK, that's not an area that I know where the majority ride into Austria. I don't know. It's difficult to answer. But yeah, there's definitely sort of West Austria that I've done before is beautiful. The Silveretta is always a pass that I will put out there to people to definitely ride. That's an amazing pass. But then you've got to ride
Silveretta.
Silveretta, yeah.
Right.
But then you've got to ride east towards Innsbruck, and then further east. But yeah. Yeah, man, I'd probably go from where I live down. I'd probably go to the Harz and then southeast to Thüringer Wald that we spoke about before, and then south into Austria from there. But from people coming from UK, obviously, most of the time, a lot of people do, a couple of laps of the Nürburgring. That's the general that's the general area that people ride into, but around the Eifel and the Mosel. So, but yeah, it's not an area that I really ride much.
Gotcha. Hairy Bearded Biker for Austria, maybe drop Schaaf a line, SCHAAF, another YouTuber. Drop him a line because he is Austrian, lives and works there, so he'll have good knowledge, extensive knowledge of where to see and ride in Austria. So once you've done Germany, drop Schaaf a line. Right, SJG0612. Is there a bike you'd love to own, but just know it wouldn't be right for you or wouldn't be practical?
Yeah.
I'd love to own.
I think definitely you'd have to go back to the Ducati days. I always had posters of a 996 on the wall as a young whippersnapper. That would probably something Ducati, definitely older generation Ducati would be something that I'd like to own, but totally impractical. The dry clutch sort of generation. Yeah, the 996 was definitely a bike that I always dreamed about, possibly.
I think for me it would be. This is quite boring, but the S1000RR, BMW S1000RR. Love that bike, but it just there's no point for me to have that bike. And at the moment, because
definitely.
The tractor does everything that I need it to. I can
for a main bike.
Cross the continent. Yeah, I can cross the continent on the tractor if I need to, or I can ride it all year round, any of the roads in the UK. I can take it to the track and still have fun on it. If I'm feeling,
didn't you ride a sports bike around the world?
I did. Yeah. Of course, I could do. Yeah, absolutely. But I've
younger days.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. I've since experienced the adventure bikes, certainly modern adventure bikes, which give me every bit of enjoyment. And I can ride them quicker on the road. The roads that I ride, I can ride adventure bikes quicker than I can a sports bike, because on the tight backcountry B roads around the UK that are full of potholes and grit and shit.
It's easier to do, isn't it?
Yeah, the adventure bike just eats it all up, and it's comfortable, and it does the job. Whereas the S1000RR, I love that bike. Cost me my job. I love that bike, but it's just no point for me to have it in the garage, really. Apart from the odd day when I'll get out there and enjoy big A roads and the odd sort of track day, maybe.
Yeah,
that would be it for me.
There you go.
Right, last one. Not last one. Ducati Richie. Why didn't he buy a GS? And I hope to see you back in a KTM soon.
Oh, surprising though that I took the 1250 GS out before I took the new XR out for a test ride. The one I bought.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I was thinking about I'd rode the Super Adventure S, the new one. I was loving it. I was thinking, do I need to go adventure bike? Do I need something a bit more comfortable, a bit more practical? Obviously the Super Duke R wasn't the most practical for me for winter riding. And I was thinking, I don't know, adventure bike, should I do it? Should I not? But KTM, I was trying to get away from them, and I thought, fuck it, I'll take the GS out. Before I took the XR out, I took it out, and I thought, I've been out even in the older GS, and I've always, it's a bike. I get it. I get why you own it, why so many people buy it. I get that it's a fantastic bike for sure. But there was still something that was, after I'd ridden it, it didn't blow my skirt up or anything, that I think that I'd need that in my life.
No, I get that.
But
it's a bit beige, isn't it?
I totally understand why it's the best-selling bike and why so many people have got them. But again, it's just something that I'm not quite ready for.
I get it. I absolutely get it, because I think I don't know. It doesn't tickle my nuts as much as a couple of other bikes do, for sure. But as you said, it sort of over across the board, it ticks the boxes that I need it to tick. Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, Colin the Carpenter. I'm about to purchase a KTM 1290 Super Duke GT, second generation. Looking at YouTube, my worries about electrics, false warning lights, etc. Should I overlook this for the fun factor of such a bike?
Yes, because I'm a firm believer that you shouldn't base a negative opinion from other people's experiences until you've experienced it for yourself.
Yeah. 100% back you on that.
Everybody, I do the same. If I'm interested in a bike, I'll research it, look into the issues, what's up with it, what's good about it. Yes, obviously, if social media or the internet is plied with negativity, for example, KTM, it may sway you not to get one. But if you've never owned one, I would still encourage you to try it, because not everybody has the issues. Speaking from personal experience, I haven't had that many issues. It's been okay, but obviously some people have had complete disasters, really bad experience. Some people have had no issues whatsoever, and you'll get that with any bike. There's still hundreds of KTM, or thousands probably of KTM owners that will say, I've had nothing or minor issues. Go out and buy one. I would always say, go out and test one, go and take one out on the road. And if you like it that much, you will get a thrill out of any KTM, then buy one. Don't let it sway your opinion. Obviously people like me or other people that have said, I've sold mine because I've had problems. Always try it. But that's the thing that I don't like is people, people that have never even owned one. You see it on social media, but people have probably never even owned it. Even ridden a KTM and be like, KTM's a bag of shit. But have you ever owned one? No. Yeah. Then I don't like that. Always go out and experience it. Okay, there's the risk there. If you spend a lot of money, that you may have an issue, but you're gonna have that with any manufacturer. As I said, I had a 2016 BMW S1000 XR, and the engine had to come out after 4,000 kilometers. But I got looked after. Everything was cool. Any manufacturer, anyone can have problems. It's obviously how you looked after is
how it's dealt with. Yeah,
how it's dealt with. But I will always encourage people to try things themselves before. Don't jump don't jump down KTM too quickly to say it's naff before you've experienced it yourself. So yes, definitely go out and try one.
Yeah, I'm totally back you on everything you said there for sure. Yeah. Absolutely. Just get hold of one, take one for a spin, see what you think. Just go for it.
My GT, I only had one issue with the GT. I had that for just over 2 years. I had to have a new master cylinder on the clutch.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was an amazing bike.
What you need to remember is that that's a Gen 2. They're now moving on to the Gen 3 of the GT, and the new Super Duke, the Super Duke R that you had was the Gen 3. So that's the first generation. Happens with so many bikes. The new 1250 GS, when that came out, like a 2019 BMW GS 1250, particularly for some reason the GS Adventures, I wouldn't touch one of them with a barge pole personally, because if you watch any of my vids, if you watch that vid where I tried to do around the UK on one, it had electrical issues. There are so many people that had electrical issues with that first carnation of a new bike. And it's the same. You get, no matter what the manufacturer is, that first run, I'd almost say hold off on that first run and wait for the first 6 months or so to go by, because that's when all the issues start coming back to the manufacturer and the software updates are done and everything like that. So
I still had so many people message me saying, my KTM dealership, my local KTM dealership is amazing. Customer service is brilliant. And I'm happy. I'm chuffed to bits that people have that. Some people don't
promote them.
Yeah, definitely. But don't beat KTM up too much. I mean, although obviously I've gone now, I've left for my particular reason. But I'd always advise to go out and sometimes I lose my language barrier as an issue. Sometimes the English is just gone. Sometimes you just got to go out and experience it for yourself, and then base an opinion or your own opinion on what your own experience is. So. Definitely,
and support when you find good dealership service and customer service. Then promote that. Do you know what I mean? Like I will gladly ride a couple of hours to get to a dealership that gives me good customer service, rather than use one that's on my doorstep if they're shit. And I'll tell everyone about how good this place is. So just do the same. Promote it. Right, last one of Facebook.
I need a piss.
Oh, all right, okay. Right, while Sean's still away having the natural break, folks, I just want to give a last shout out to the podcast supporters, and they are you. So both you lot over in the clan over on Patreon, when you join the clan over there, you're not only supporting the main channel, but you're also supporting the podcast. So a massive shout out to each and every one of you over on the clan. That's patreon.com/TeapotOne. And lastly, just to you people who are watching and listening to the podcast now, even just listening to the podcast, downloading it, sharing it, commenting, rating it if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, that is a massive help. Thank you so much to all of you. I hope you're enjoying it. Right, let's get back to it. And here he is. How you doing, Shawnee boy?
What did I miss?
Just me pushing Patreon and people give me a rating on Apple Podcasts. You know how it goes.
Absolutely.
Right. So last one of the Facebook questions, Alan_B_1. I feel like it's okay to ask this, as I've already heard Christmas songs in the shops. What biking related things are on your Christmas list?
Oh, I want a new pair of boots, but they're shocking expensive. I want the Revit Expedition H2Os. Have you seen them?
I think I've got them. That sounds so pretentious. Oh no, Revit. No. I haven't got Revit. The Spiddy ones I've got. All right.
The Revit Expedition H2Os. I think it's the most expensive boot, touring boot on the market. It's €600 for these boots.
What? Really?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm drawn to them.
Oh, I'm gonna have to check them out. I've got to quantify why I sounded like such an arrogant prick there. For the motorbike TV show, we were given kit by Ferrydax, who they're the distributor for Shoei, Spiddy, Spada, Siddy, all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So it was like Christmas. It was the best supermarket sweep I've ever done in my life. We turned up there and, got helmets, kit, all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And for the boots, we were given... It was phenomenal because the idea was to be kitted out in a touring set, like a track set, and a casual set. But because I'm like a normal sized fat UK guy, and Speedy are Italian, they don't do anything my size. So
they don't have fat people.
Yeah, they don't like the fattest. Speedy, the fattest. If you're tall and fat, you're fattest. Yeah. If you're shorter and fatter, I think you're in equally as troubled water. But anyway, boots-wise, with City, they did my size, and I have a pair of their top-of-the-range adventure touring boots.
Yeah,
I don't know what they're
Adventure.
called. Oh, yeah, those ones. I don't know what they are. That's the ones I thought you were talking about. That's why I sounded like a prick. I'm sorry.
No worries. I mean, I got the City Adventures. They must be about 9 years old now, but the City Adventure 2 came out, but mine are still working. But sometimes they, although they're fully waterproof now that they're sort of getting on a bit, they do let the water in between. But yeah, the Revit Expedition H2Os that I've been sort of drawn towards, but it's I mean, that's mental money.
It's ridiculous. Why do you like them then?
I don't know. I think the look of them is nice. And I was just watching a few reviews on it. I thought, oh, that's a proper nice boot. That I fancy a bit of that.
The best boots I've ever worn were, I had a pair of Daytona touring boots. I got them for, I think I got them at one of the bike shows for 350 odd, I think, which was a steal then. So I don't know. I can't remember what they retail.
A lot of my sort of riding buddies have the Gore-Tex Daytona boots, but I don't know. I'm just the looks wise, I'm not into them. I'm a bit of a...
They're quite bland. They were just black, but they had titanium toe sliders.
Yeah.
But the problem was, like, a day, certainly 2 days in the Picos in Spain, and they've worn away. They've gone. So
really?
I've literally worn away the front side of the boots. They've gone. Yeah. Because I ride. We're taught in where's the camera? We're taught in the old bill to ride sort of duck feet with with the instep of your boot on the peg, not your toe, the instep, and with your feet out. That's what they want. So I got into the habit of riding like that, and every time you corner, you just grind. Really? So I've ground the toes away of my boots.
I'm a toes man on the pegs.
I used to be, but we just got sort of indoctrinated into riding like that. So that's how I ride now.
Yeah. But I mean, I can get them resold. I think my cities, but as I said, they've started to let the water in on and sort of heavier downfalls. So, but they're just getting on a bit now. They're a few years old. So, yeah, that's on my list. The Revit Expedition H2Os.
What makes them 600 quid?
Oh, I don't know. I think they're made of gold or
something. Do they massage your feet?
I have no idea.
Suck your toes.
I'm a sucker for nice gear. I think I'm gonna get them. It's my birthday. It's my birthday next week. I don't know if I mentioned it.
600 quid for your birthday? I need a new family. Can you adopt me?
I've got like 40 people coming.
Yeah, we all know you're very popular, Shaun. Yeah, all right. I think I got about one card. And one of them was from my wife.
That's the good thing about Germany. Everybody gives money for birthday. So
I've always liked Germany. Liked Germany.
So my birthday's on Thursday. I'm going to be 40, Bruce.
You're not even 40 yet.
Well, on Thursday, yeah. I don't look it though. I look about 25, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You do. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm hoping birthday's going to be a good sesh. 40 people come in. Everybody's going to.
I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will be a good gig.
Bucks, and then I'm going to get the Revit Expedition.
Are you going to charge people an entrance fee to come into your?
Yeah, definitely into the bar for sure. I'm just going to be sat here for the entire evening. I don't know what everybody else is doing. I'm going to be sat
22 euros a pint. Or half pint.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see it up there. I've got me
fuel service. Brilliant.
Little saving pots here. There's another one there. BMW one.
Man, that's a great idea. I love that.
Have you could lob a few bucks in there? I'll drink my beer.
Brilliant. Okay,
what about
me,
you?
Alan.
Have you got anything that you're going to get?
Yeah, I think I've fallen for it, to be honest. I've fallen for all the hype. The new GoPro Hero 10.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've always kept up. Every year I've bought the latest camera, but I've got the 9, but I'm not sure the 10 is worth the effort.
I am, because it's got the new processor on it. So I'm hoping that this new processor faster. Sorts out that audio issue. Have you had audio issues with your 9?
No.
I have. I
don't use it for audio though. I use my 9 as the rear camera. You use it on your helmet, right?
Yeah. What do you use?
I use the trusty 7 still.
Okay.
And the
I had loads of issues with the 7.
It's fine.
Oh, really? I had loads of issues with the 7. Yeah.
Okay.
And I've got 4 7s, and I had issues all across the board with 7s. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've got the 8 as well. If that shits its pants and you have to swap your helmet camera out, but the 9 I always use on the as a rear-facing cam on the sort of handlebars. So yeah, I don't know. For me, although I've always every year or whenever they bring out a new camera, I've always got it. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to get the 10. Do they still do the max lens mod on the 10?
Yeah, it's the same one as the 9. You can take, and the media mod. You can use the media mod, the batteries, and the max media mod. You can put them all onto the 10, no problem.
Yeah, just for me, I think using I mean, I know you use it on your helmet, but for me, I think you get more benefit out of using the horizon lock on your bike, because your head turns anyway when you ride. So you don't really sort of get the benefits out of that feature. But I don't know. I don't think I'm going to get the 10. No, I'm not.
I am just, and I'll put this on camera. I'll make this public. I'm doing this because it's a new processor, and if it doesn't combat the audio issues, then I think that's probably going to be me done with GoPro, and I don't know what I'm going to do after that. So who knows?
Yeah, I mean, now that I'm new to the Insta360 scene, I think if I'd be happy to say now that I'd keep my Hero 7 or the 8 on the helmet, and then have like 3 Insta360s for everything else. Mm-hmm. Although it ups your workflow because you have to edit it separately. I don't know. I think the usability of Insta360s is mint.
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely. I mean, if I'm going to be forced to record audio with a separate audio recorder, then I think in terms of cameras, there's a multitude of different cameras out there. There's the new DJI Osmo 2 or whatever it's called, the new action cam, which is starting to get some negative. Yeah, it's starting to get some negative reviews now on YouTube. If you look at that, I think people. But again, it's that first run. It's that first run of a new product.
It's brand new, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'd happily go Insta360 for 90% of my cameras.
Yeah, it's definitely been the most reliable of any action camera that I currently use, for sure. It's the one I've had least issues with. But as you said, it's just a bit of a pain in the arse in terms of production.
It ups the hours that you've seen.
Yeah, massively. Yeah. Okay, so now we'll move over to the last lot, Facebook. Are you okay for time, mate? Because we are knocking on 3 hours.
No, I'm good. I mean, I think it's cool because a lot of the time, sometimes on Facebook and Instagram, they don't always get their questions asked, do they? Because Patreon's always a lot. And then, I'm happy to stay, and then we'll answer everything that we've got.
Top man. I've got to admit, folks, I've made a conscious effort over the last sort of, say, half dozen to dozen of the podcast. I've tried to keep them sort of below 2 hours, maybe an hour and a half or even below. A lot of the time that's just been because of like some guests have only got an hour, so I've had to really narrow it in. But I do think it takes a little bit away from it. Like, people like yourself who want to chat, and we're just having a chat, aren't we? And as you said, we don't always get through all the questions. So if you've taken the time to leave a question, we will answer them today.
We're on it.
Right, so facebook.com/TeapotOne. Again, Shaun's socials will be linked down below. First one, Dale Wintle. Hi guys, hope you're both well. I like to keep my bike clean and well maintained like Shaun. Sorry, Bruce. What is both your cleaning process when cleaning your bike. Take care, stay safe. Cheers, Dale. Right. Go on then.
Yeah,
cleaning process.
I'm not too meticulous with it, but if I go out in the rain and get it minging, then latest the next day it gets washed. So I like to keep on top of it, but I don't know. Maybe it's my OCD. No idea.
Yeah, it's often been commented on my bikes for sure. But what I will say, and this is a plug. This is definitely a plug, but it's a plug that is warranted. My mate Pete Hamazidai, he owns and runs Super Shield Auto, who do the ceramic coating of bikes. Now you'll hear ceramic coating, and you'll go, yeah, very good, blah, blah. My mate will do ceramic coating, it's shit, blah, 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 blah. You may well know people that do it, but they do not do the Super Shield Auto. They are the only people in the world that use that product. I've had mine done, and I can gladly say, you look at my bike right now, and it is a shit tip. It's done 2,000 miles since the last wash.
Oh, dear.
I've ridden to Switzerland, all around the Alpine passes and back. I've ridden up to the northeast the Lake District during the flood warnings the other weekend for the clan meetup, all around there and back. This thing has been hammered. I will wash that bike, and within an hour, it will be showroom condition. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
That's cool. I think is the benefit of Super Shield Auto. Again, I'll put links down below. Check them out. There are so many people in the clan and who follow me, TeapotOne, and also Richie. Richie sort of pushes the Sheffield division of it. I think it's Sheffield.
Yeah, I've seen it.
So many people have had it done. I haven't heard anyone who's had it done to their bike who's turned around and gone, this is shit. Yeah. Everybody's been blown away by it. So check that out.
I mean, I think for me, I'm in a sort of more possibly a privileged position that my garage is actually sort of in my house, and I have underfloor heating in my garage. So
no way.
Yeah. So a lot of the time, I can go into I don't even shut the garage door. It's just the garage door is always open. So I just mooch into the garage from my house, and I like to just sort of tinker on my bike. So if
you have underfloor heating in your garage and your own bar.
Yes.
Shaun, you're my new hero. You are my hero.
Marry me.
Yeah, I'll gladly marry you. No problem. No problem.
Yeah. So a lot of the time I'm in there just out of convenience, because if you haven't got a garage, or you have got a garage that's probably not heated in the winter, or it's sort of a separate building, then obviously you're not going to go in there as much. I can literally walk through my house, and I just have the door to the garage is always open, so I just walk straight into the garage barefoot and be warmed by the underfloor heating.
Do you know how many people hate you at this moment?
Yeah, they can hate me as much as
I consider you a friend, and I think I'd quite gladly do some horrific things to you at the moment. Anyway. Right, so Dale, now we know that Shaun is living the life and has it made. I bet you've probably got somebody that comes in and washes your bike for you, don't you?
No, I like to do it myself, but yeah.
Right, okay. Chamois them with. No, I'm not even going to go there. I'm not even going to go there.
With the ring piece
stop
of
it, Bruce.
Stop
goat. It. Yes. Right, J. Andrew Cruz. Shaun, back on a Beamer is a beautiful thing. I'm going to ask, what did he do with all the orange KTM-inspired kit? He was Mr. KTM for a while. Well, look behind you. Look, he's wearing it for starters, and there's a sign right behind you.
Yeah, that one there, look.
There you go. Yeah, look. And more.
If I turn the laptop this way.
Hedging your bets. Like it.
There's a BMW garage.
Look.
Oh, the bottle opener. That's a winner.
Yeah. I got this as I think it was a Christmas present a few years ago from KTM. Thank you very much, KTM UK. And
they're good then.
Gets a lot of use in the podcast, that does.
Yeah, definitely. What was the question?
Oh yeah. What have you done with all your KTM inspired? Yeah, because you had KTM leathers and everything, didn't you?
Yeah, I've still got it. I was toying with the idea of flogging it all, but I don't know. Could be my pit bike leathers and helmet. I don't know. I might just keep it all and just crash in it a lot.
Have you won the lottery or something? Underfloor heating in your garage, your own bar, pit bike leathers. What the heck?
Yeah, I've got a few sets, but I thought I'm not going to obviously wear them on the S1000.
I can't afford fuel in my bloody bike at the moment, and you've got.
Can you get any fuel at the moment at your place?
We can now. Yeah, those fucktards that went out there and used all the fuel have thankfully moved on to something else that the media's told them to panic buy. Yeah.
But our fuel prices have gone through the roof as well. I think we're paying, I don't know, 170, 180 sometimes for
169 a litre for premium unleaded. It was.
Yeah, that's pretty much the same as here.
Dickie, Richie Vida just filled up his 40
quid.
Twin.
Yes, I saw that.
40 quid.
40 quid.
I mean, I hit 30 quid on the GS. Obviously, it's a 20-litre tank, not a 30. But I hit 30 quid and I was like, this is insane. I remember 30 quid filling up my car when I was young. That's incredible.
Is the Africa Twin got a 30-litre tank?
Yeah, I think it's the... I think it must be the Adventure one that he's got there. He must have the bigger tank.
Oh. Well, that'll blow the arse out of your wallet. That 40 quid, that's shocking.
Yeah, but I mean, you'll get about 9,000 miles out of it, but you know, it's still a lot of money, isn't it? There's another. Kristen Furness has said, "Have the KTM fanboys cast you out of the gang?"
No, I mean, I exited a few WhatsApp groups that I was in, but we've got sort of 6 or 7 that still ride together. So I've said, what's the crack? And they've said, we don't care what you ride. And a lot of them, obviously, as I said, 4 or 5 of them ride the Super Duke R, and some of them had to buy a second bike because the other one was always knackered. And some of them, have said that's the last KTM that they'll get. So eventually, when they go, then they'll go elsewhere as well. So we're all going to keep riding together. So no, I've not been.
Shame, isn't it?
I've not been cast aside. No, yeah, and as I said, I had 2 or 3 issues, nothing major really, but going out on rides with them and gear linkages falling off down the street, or the fuel tank empties its arse all over the road, and just seeing everybody else's misery. I was just like, oh God. And plus, the things that I'd had, I was thinking it's just not on. So yeah. But no, they haven't been me off.
Mate.
Yeah, it's like anything. You buy new bikes, you meet new people.
Yeah, of course.
Nobody cares what bikes you ride. You make friends through things that you do. So they all still want to ride with me. So that's all cool.
It gets me that though to hear that about KTM, because I really want to be a KTM 100% diehard fanboy. I really want to be, because they embrace everything about motorbiking, motorcycling that I want. They're fun. They've got the bad boy image. They've got that hooligan image with it. They sound great. They look great. They're a little bit different. They ride impeccably well. Yeah. It's awesome. But that one thing about reliability is the issue, but it is an issue, but it's the customer care. And it's like, sort that out, man. And you would have such a more successful brand.
And I was all in. I was all into KTM before. This Super Duke guy is going to sort of make the channel. I was, obviously that's in mind when you buy a bike. How's it going to sort of impact your YouTube channel? For others, it's not an issue. But
I never think about that, I've got to say.
No, to an extent, not everything, but to an extent, you think how's that going to come across? But I was as soon as I bought the Super Duke, I bought the Super Duke GT, had that for 2.5 years, and then bought the Super Duke R, and I was thinking the Super Duke R, it's going to do all right. And obviously, I slapped a loud graphics kit on it, and I bought everything. I bought an orange helmet, orange leathers, orange boot, everything. I'd gone full in. I was like, this is me. V-Twins is for me. That's my engine. That's my bike. And I went all in with it. And then
L-Twin. It is. It's an L-Twin engine. The new 1290 is an L-Twin. I'm sure it is.
It doesn't look like an L to me.
I might be wrong here. I might be showing like a right twat. I'm sure it's Eltwood. The new 1290 is Eltwood. I'm sure.
But yeah, anyway, it definitely wasn't a light decision. And I went all into KCM. I was thinking, this is where I'm going to stay. And it's not worked out that way. But, shit happens. That's how life
exactly.
is.
We've covered this.
Yeah.
Next one, Tony Brown. Can he arrange a meetup near to where he lives so we can go over and he can take us on some of those fantastic roads? People could arrange their own accommodation for the weekend.
People coming from UK?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Are you up for that?
Yeah, definitely. And I had I did a meetup. I did a Patreon meetup. Oh, when was that? A couple of months ago. Met some new people. And we went down to Biegelsee and did a tour around sort of Germany for 3 or 4 days. And then Andy hooked up with them after I'd finished, and he went on with them for another couple of days. It was a good event.
Let's do it.
Yeah, definitely. I'd like to do more of that, to be honest. I mean,
me too.
For German subscribers, although me and Andy live here, most of our sort of subs views and whatnot come from sort of UK, America, Australia and whatnot. So our sort of German sub or viewers, if you like, is minimal. But although we did I know you came over for one that we did a German sub meetup.
That was great fun.
Yeah, it was definitely fairly successful, but there's so many more Brits that want to do it. So yeah, I'm definitely up for that, and I've done a few of them already. And people have become. I love that sort of side of things. It's especially Patreon side of things, that people that go that bit further to support channels.
Definitely.
I had a Patreon meetup a couple of months ago, and although I came over, or people came over and we met these people, some people are now flying over from UK, patrons this is, to come to my birthday bash on Friday.
No, that's mega.
And I love that. I love it to bits. These are people I've met once, say. Mm-hmm. But although you feel that you've known them for a long time because you're always chatting online on various social media platforms, but patrons are now coming to my birthday bash next week. I think that's amazing.
There is, I don't know, I'm sure you must get this. I get a fair amount of negative comments from non-patrons whenever I post up anything about Patreon. Like I do Patreon meetups and weekends and all this sort of stuff, and I get stuff. It's not a lot. That's wrong. I get the odd comment. Obviously, the negative ones are the ones that stand out, aren't they? Yeah. I've had people saying, "Oh, hang on a minute. I watch your vids, and now I have to pay again to just come on a ride out with you. I'm being exploited here." Blah 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 blah. And that really gets my goat, because I'm like, these people in the clan, these people who make a conscious decision to support you as a content creator. Yeah. They are going out their way to help you financially, whether that's a quid or $1 or 100 quid a month, whatever it is, whatever they choose to do. They're making that decision to do it. And I sort of think to myself, I owe it to these people to give them something more back.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? Like they are making a conscious effort to support me, and I want to give more back to them, to those specific people. So I think let's chat about this afterwards, but maybe if we do like me, you and Andy or something, we'll do a joint Patreon only meet up and ride out over in Germany. Yeah. We'll come over and I'll bring the UK lot. They can all meet up with me and we'll go over en masse on the bikes and we'll do a big ride up. Yeah.
Mate, if I'm available, I'm up for everything. It's like you say, these people go out of their way to
absolutely
support what we do. And if you can, obviously, if you've got time, then it's good to give something back. And as I said, I've met other people. It's a fantastic thing. The community of just how everything comes together. Yeah. It's why it's worth doing. It's why we do it, to be honest.
Absolutely.
I mean, regardless of everything else that we do for views and whatnot, and everything else that comes with what we do, but just to meet new people and to make new friends. I mean, and a lot of the time, you do make new friends, although regardless, you know, obviously people that you meet up with, and especially in my case, I've met up with people that pay, you know, for content, but they become friends. And these people are now flying over next week to come to my 40th birthday party. I mean, who doesn't want that? I mean, it's absolutely...
That's mega, man. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
Awesome.
Absolutely brilliant. I was going to say something. I can't remember what it was. Bollocks. I've totally forgotten what it was.
Big up the Patreons. We love you, man.
Absolutely. We 100% do. That was what it was. It was like, you know, it's like $1. Well, some people, I don't know what your tiers are, but, you know, it can be from like $1 a month, which is what, 60p, 63p or something at the moment, current exchange rate. And there's the difference in people is stark when you look at it like that, because there are some people that say, I'm not paying 60p a month or 60 cents a month. And then I have other people who pay a mind-blowing amount every month.
More than your Sky Premium.
Do you know what I mean? People are paying a ridiculous amount a month to support the channel, and the scope, the difference between the mindsets is phenomenal.
I always try to make it. You know, I don't talk about it too much, but I always say if you're somebody that says, "Why would I pay for it when I can get it for free?" then that's cool. Just hit the like.
It's your choice.
Hit the like button, hit the dislike button. Then I'm happy. But
that helps. Massive help.
If that's your mindset, then it's definitely not for you. But it's for the people that say, "Shit," you know.
The people that have a pop, that's the ones I'm like, oh, what? Okay, you can get both barrels.
But if someone says, you know, why should I pay for it when I can watch it for free? Then I just say, well, that's cool. Then you can watch it for free.
As long as you're watching it.
Yeah, it's just for people that want to possibly show appreciation or want to be part of it, of the big scheme of things. So it's always a grey area, isn't it? It's a shitty thing that people... I don't know. We don't always want to ram it down people's throats or anything, but it's something, you know, at the end of the day, people can see through that and say, well, if we are supporting the channel, then like we always say, you know, we can get out and do more. We can do more things. We can produce more content, better content.
Of course.
And then some people are into that. Some people are not. It's not for everybody, but we're happy for just a like or a comment saying you're a massive banger.
You bell end. This is what I was going to say. What I love seeing, and I genuinely mean this, I'm not just saying this to I can be all Hollywood. What I genuinely love, and it's not just from the Patreon meetups, it's from when people come away on tour with me or like, I don't know, but just people come away on a group ride or something. You get people who never go anywhere other than by themselves to the local calf. They don't ride in a group. They have a drink or something and in the back. They ride 3 months out of the year and that's that. Then they make that conscious decision to come along to an event. So they either come away on a tour or maybe they join Patreon and they come away on one of the Patreon meetups and stuff. They meet other bikers from all walks of life, from every background you can think of. They ride a different part of the country and they get it. All of a sudden they're exposed to that camaraderie and everything that we love about biking and maybe take for granted at times. And I love the reaction from people who are just like, I didn't know this existed. I didn't know this side of life was open to me. And all of a sudden, because of a motorbike, they've got new mates and I get involved with, you must be the same, you get involved with loads of different WhatsApp groups and everyone's arranging to go and meet up in the, you live here, I'm only 20 minutes down the road or half hour down the road. Do you fancy let's go to this calf and do this? And I'm not involved with it anymore. It's like the beast has been unleashed and off they go. And all of a sudden these people are meeting up with new mates and they message me and go, I've been to Wales. I went to Wales. I never thought I'd go and do Wales. I've done this, done that, blah, 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 blah. Thanks so much for introducing me to these people. I love that. Absolutely love it. Doesn't
that go back to that guy's question about you being in the police and me in the military, about what we miss, excluding the camaraderie? Isn't that a thing that just brings that all back? Although it's not to that extent, but it's a community where it's obviously
team
not
spirit.
it shouldn't be predominantly male, and we're up for obviously getting more women riders on board. But just that community of people coming together, and that's for me, that's the thing that's missing from my life, from obviously military life, that I've now been able to input into the life that I have now. Although that was missing before, that's something that I now have that was missing before. It's an amazing thing to have, and it's, I don't know, some people may think that it's kind of soppy and bollocks, but you know, for people that just ride 20 minutes, you know, to a I don't know, to go and get a cup of coffee, and that's their biking experience. I don't know, it's such a sad thing to hear, because they're missing out. So much more.
They are
there's
missing
so
out.
Much more.
Yeah. If that's your thing, that's your thing. But you are missing out, and it's so good to hear of people that are broadening the horizon in every shape or form. You know, like you know what it's like when you get a group of bikers together. You don't know how much money each person's got. You don't know what social class people are. You don't know what they're into, who they follow. You don't know any of that. You're just bikers, aren't you? And you know, I'm by no means, it's still a sausage fest, but I get more and more lassies coming along now, which is great to see. And it's a bit of a bee in my bonnet, the whole, you know, women only this and women only that. I'm not into any of that. I don't do man only stuff. I don't believe in that. Just if you want to come. I don't care if you wear a frock at the weekend. Come. I don't care. Just enjoy bikes and get on the crack. Exactly. Yeah. And I love that. That's what I love about biking, for sure. Right, we need to get back on track, otherwise we'll be hitting 4 hours at this rate.
Holy shit.
So, Tony Brown, yes, we're going to arrange a meetup. Shaun's pretty much said it's happening now, whether he likes it or not. So I will bring you from the UK over. Let's do it.
Get over.
Simon Broom. Hi both. Hope you're both well. Do you think there is such things as UFOs or life on other planets? Discuss. Awesome. We're going Joe Rogan. Yes.
God.
Come on.
Fucking hell.
UFOs.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'd like to think that there was life on another
100%.
planet. I'd like to think so. Whether it's happened here, I think it's pretty much all bollocks. All the sort of conspiracy theories, Area 51, UFO sightings is pretty much all been explained, and it's all cack. But I think I'd like to think that in another galaxy far, far away.
Do you listen to Joe Rogan?
There'd be some sort of Mrs. Marshall waiting for me to get with.
Automatically, you're talking about humping extraterrestrial life. Like it. Do you listen to Joe Rogan?
No.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, sheesh. Right. I have some news for you? Have you heard of Commander David Fravor? No. He is, as you'd imagine, he's an American naval air pilot. Yeah. He's a commander. And there is documented evidence of it. He has various different radar recordings, screen recordings, plus his whole squadron that were out. They were on exercise off the coast of California, and their sort of radar room on the ship basically said, you need to head to these coordinates off the coast. We've been seeing these things for a couple of weeks now. We've got no idea what they are, but they're there now. You're the closest. Can you head? So he's gone. Right. So he's there. You can hear everything. It's all on YouTube. You can hear the military have even released this going, we don't know what this is. So, right. So he's gone there. And first thing they notice is that under the sea, there's an object under the surface that seems to be moving under the surface. And then they notice these, they call them, Tic Tacs. They call them Tic Tac objects. These objects sort of arrive just out of nowhere above them. So this object in the sea, I think, went stationary, and then this Tic Tac thing has been above it. So they started following this Tic Tac shape, and it went from a few feet above the surface of the ocean to, I think it was 80,000 feet. The radar room tracked it. In the blink of an eye, it's gone from just above the sea to way above. It blocked their radar and their tracking and everything like that. And then just in the blink of an eye, it's buggered off to another coordinates. So once it's at the next coordinates, the radar room's picked it all up. So they've headed to that. They're behind this. It's all documented. It's all there. You can see the radar. You can see infrared. You can see actual video of it. It's all on YouTube. This is a commander in the American military, and the American military have even gone, yeah, we've been seeing this stuff all the time. We just don't know what to make of it. And it's now been released. It's been in the New York Times. It was part of the COVID relief bill over in the States that they were going to have to release the information that that has been top secret up until now.
I don't know. I think for me, I think for me to believe anything like that, I'd have to see it firsthand.
Okay, let's go down a different.
How much footage can you find on YouTube for UFOs and all this kind of creepy
you
stuff?
can, but nothing with the pedigree that has.
Yeah.
Now, what I'm saying here is, it may be not necessarily extraterrestrial, but even if it's not extraterrestrial, something is out there that has done that. So there's something out there that defines physics as we know it. So whether that's another nation, or even the Brits, the Americans, the Germans, somebody has technology that allows them to do that. Surely that's an issue, isn't it?
Yeah, it could be. Like I said, I'd have to witness something firsthand for me to be.
And that is one tiny slice from a whole. Joe Rogan goes into. He's had loads of guests on, some of which who he's defunct. He's just been like, that's bullshit. But there are others who he's just like, wow, blown away by this. You got what I mean? Well worth listening to. Okay, ghosts. Do you believe in ghosts?
No, that's bollocks.
Okay, I've seen one.
Oh, no.
Genuinely.
Oh, no.
Genuinely. Yeah. Honestly, hand up to God, exactly like you. Total used to debunk it. Think what a load of bollocks. Genuinely, I used to work as a doorman, a bouncer in Glasgow. Part of our job was to open and shut the fire exits every night. So, you'd unpadlock the fire exits at the start of the shift, and then you'd padlock them all up at the end of the shift. So start of one of the shifts, I'm in one of the top clubs, the garage in Glasgow. I'm in the top club up there, the attic. And if you imagine, the fire doors with the old bar on them, you boot the bar open and go. So that's inside the top club. You boot that door open, and it comes to an enclosed staircase, totally enclosed. And it goes from the very top of this building, goes down about 5 or 6 flights, all the way to the very bottom, where there's another door, and that door opens out into the back car park. And it's totally encased in brick from the bottom to the top. There's no windows, there's no other platforms, no other landings. One way in, one way out, top and bottom. That is it. So start of the shift, I've gone to open up that fire exit, booted open the top door, started walking down the stairs, and as I'm sort of halfway downstairs, looking, I'm looking straight down the stairs here, and it's brick here, it's brick there, then there's a landing, and obviously on the other side of the brick, the stairs going down to the next level. Well, these two guys just walked, as clear as day, just walked across the landing and started walking up the stairs towards me. But they were dressed as, the best description I can give you is the Untouchables, the Sean Connery film. They were like that, long trench coats, the hats, everything. And they had the hands in the pocket, side by side, with the heads down. And they sort of started walking up the stairs like that. And I was like, who are you? How'd you get in here? Like that, sort of shouted at them. And they started looking up, and literally before, every time I tell this story, and I've told it a lot to people, I get hairs on the back of my neck. Before I could see their eyes, one of my mates from upstairs was like, "How big, man? You all right?" So I've sort of turned around and I was like, get back down here. There's 2 people in the fire exit. Turned round and they've gone. So my mate comes running down the stairs. I'd love to get him on here. Andy Kearney, if he's listening, I'm assuming you'll remember this. I'm sure he would. But anyway, we've ran down the stairs all the way to the bottom and haven't passed anyone. This stairway is 5 foot wide, if that. So it's not even like we could miss him. We've got all the way to the bottom. And there is the bottom fire exit door with a lump of 2x4 across it, chained and padlocked shut.
Yeah.
So obviously my mucker's looking at me going, what have you been smoking tonight before you turned up? And I was like, mate, honestly, there were 2 geezers here. So I've unpadlocked it, gone out, nothing. Absolutely nothing there. And then later on in the shift, we're on the front door and my mate turns around to the manager when he comes down. He's like, oh, you might want to watch the big chap tonight. I think he's been on the wacky backy. Told him the story. And the manager just went, oh, yeah, those two. He said, yeah, cleaners see them all the time. And, you know, there's these ones, that one, blah, 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 blah. Turns out that the cleaners apparently see all sorts in this. Because this nightclub dates back to the 1930s. It used to be called the Locarno in Glasgow. It's a very popular dance hall then.
Okay.
And honestly, mate, I mean, I don't know. It was just like, what the fuck's that? What is that?
I mean, I don't want to totally dismiss it. I kind of like to think that there was something extraterrestrial or ghost-wise, but me personally, I've never experienced anything, so I can't.
I just think there is so much more than
a lot of it can be explained, but some not, but yeah. I don't know.
There used to be. I'll get into this. I'd love to get. If anyone knows, like a paranormal expert, let me know, because I'd love to get them on for a chat about it. We used to get chatting about ghost stories and stuff at work in the old Bill. And Downing Street, there is a little girl that apparently haunts Downing Street. When you I'm sure this isn't secret. Well, it's not secret. In Downing Street, under the stairs, there's a little door on the main stairs that you can go through, and it takes you downstairs to where the cafeteria is. Well, there are a lot of people, not just coppers, but a lot of people who have said they've seen this young girl, like a 5, 6, 7-year-old girl, who literally take you by the hand and walk you up and down the stairs, or she'll just be playing on the stairs when you get there. And there's lots of people have seen her. There's an old drill instructor at the back of Downing Street on Horse Guards Parade. Yeah. And his thing is he hates anyone to be asleep. So there used to be a post there where you were single man, so you're by yourself. And I'll let some trade secrets out because it's all double manned now and you can't do it. But back in the day, there used to be a chair hidden in one of the bushes. And on a night duty, you'd get the chair out and sit in the chair and hide in the dark and just have a little snooze, right? Doesn't happen anymore because it can't. And the amount of lads who have said, like, literally, they were kicked off the chair or thrown off the chair. And there's no one round about you. There's nobody there. Honestly. It's weird, man.
Oh man, yeah.
I love it. I love all this sort of stuff.
Maybe. I mean, I wouldn't definitely dismiss it, but until I'd actually seen something myself, then I'd be a bit dubious. But.
Right. Any spirits or UFO aliens listening to the podcast, go and find Shaun. Give him a birthday present.
You find the weirdos. I'm just going to have a quick slash.
Are you having another pee?
Yeah, dude. I've had about 7.
Wow. Yeah, but they're like half pints. They're not manly drinks like my little can of Brewdog.
Oh yeah, it's massive, that thing. What is that? That is it.
Be quick. Right, what else we got here? J. Andrew Cruz, Ryan Groom. Oh, you're replying to Ryan. Bruce and his GS is as much. Oh, sorry. Right, this is another question. Oh my God, I've jumped a load of questions. Apologies. Will's MTV, how are you getting on with the XR? Loves your channel. Right, Will's, we will cover that when we get back. Let me... I'll tell you what, we may as well just wait. Now, what do you folks think? What do you folks think of the whole UFO and ghost thing? I mean, sheesh. I'm open to it. I just think when you look up, especially with UFOs, when you look up at the sky, you cannot tell me that we are the only things here. That just doesn't make logical sense to me. And my sort of thinking on, again, this is heavily Joe Rogan influenced because I do listen to him a lot. But I agree with this. I kind of think a lot of the UFOs that we see, I kind of think they're maybe just us from the future with that ability to come back. Because, again, if you're not familiar with Joe Rogan when he talks about, if you look at how the human race has developed. You know, our heads have got smaller, our heads have got bigger, and our muscles have got smaller. And then you look at the reports of like the little green men that we hear about. They've got massive heads, tiny little bodies, you know, no genitalia or anything like that. And you look at where we're headed.
Where did I just walk into?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you have walked into this. I'm saying that my kind of thinking is maybe a lot of these alien sightings, maybe it's just us from like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years in the future, and we've got that ability to come back. Because would you not want, the first thing I'd want to do, if we could time travel, I'd want to go back and, you know, look at the dinosaurs and look at Egypt and look at the Braveheart days. I'd love to go back and have a look at the war. Like, Jesus, what happened during the Second World War, and the big one where loads of alien sightings, the first nuclear explosions, Hiroshima, Nagasaki, all that sort of stuff. You'd want to look at those key points in history, wouldn't you?
Would you want to be there? You wouldn't want to be there at a time, though.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. Yeah, you're not going to want to be at that specific point, but you'd like to be in the world at some point to be definitely there and see.
Yeah, definitely to see some.
Yeah, you're not with it yet, are you? You're not with it.
No, I've just been clocked by the neighbours pissing in the hedge.
Brilliant. Right, Will's MTV. How are you getting on with the XR? I love your channel.
Oh, mate. I'm going to tell you something now. Well, I've done 600 Ks on the XR. I've had it 3 weeks, but I've not had time really to get out on it much. My parents came over for a week, so that was out the window. But I went out day before yesterday to film a vid. I had a fault come up on the display.
No.
Yeah, so it's in the workshop already. So the bike thinks the rear shock's knackered, but the rear shock isn't knackered. And the posh BMW diagnostic laptop can't say what's knackered. So I'm going to get a phone call tomorrow to discuss what's going to happen.
Have they given you a courtesy bike?
No, I don't need one because the bike's not faulty. It still rides fine. But I was out on a ride. Fault came up on the display. Spring strut adjustment failure. Ride with caution to your nearest dealerships or a road.
Yeah.
So I took it there. I was like, this has come up. They put it onto the laptop and they were like, I don't know. The fault's in there. It can't be deleted, but it won't say what's wrong. It says the fault, but it doesn't say where it is and whatnot. And it just says something on the rear shock. But
computer says maybe.
Yeah, we tested your rear shock. It can be fully adjusted, you know, with all the different bits and bobs, preload and dampening. It can all be adjusted. It all works fine. But for some reason, the bike says it's knackered. I was like, brilliant. I said, what can I do now? I said, you can ride it, no problem. It all works. So you can ride it, no problem. Take it home. We all have to get emailed to BMW, and Monday morning we should get an answer from BMW. What's the crack? I said, well, okay, what's going to happen then potentially? He said, well, possibly if we can't delete the fault, the BMW will just say you get an rear shock.
Yeah.
So
which is the difference? Which is the difference?
Yeah. Again, brand new bike. I don't know. Every XR that I've had, it's been a problem, but it's been looked after. So yeah, I'll know from Monday what the issue is. But from what it is, I can ride the bike. I'll probably ride it tomorrow for a bit because I need to get some bits and bobs done. But yeah, I'll get sorted out. But there you go.
So follow Shaun's channel to find out more, people.
Yeah, but other than that, the bike is mint.
Right, next one. Andrew Gibbs, can you expand upon the KTM service and dealer support issues that you alluded to in the XR pickup video, please? Well, I think we've done that, haven't we? To death. We've already covered that, Andrew. Ryan Groom, if you could go back to when you was younger and pick a bike from your past, what would it be and why? And Bruce, no GS.
Pick a bike from my own past?
Yeah.
No, I don't know. There's not many. Yeah. Oh God. I mean, to be honest, for me, every bike that I sort of buy, is progressive. Every new bike that I buy, I find. Well, no, I wouldn't say it's the best bike each time, but it's a progressive thing. So you start off small, and work your way up to something nice. But I don't know. I'll probably go back to the answer I had before, that the Ducati 996 was always a bike that I always dreamed of having. But from my own bikes experiences, the Super Duke without the issues and the dealership issues, that's
the one, is it?
That's the bike, yeah.
I think for me it would be the GSX-R 1000 that I had that was supposed to do the trip with me. So it was an LO, a 2000 GSX-R 1000, and that's the one I had the massive crash on in Germany.
Yeah,
that had a full Akrapovic system on it. Yeah, in Germany, in Black Forest. Yeah.
Okay.
I can, without a shadow of a doubt, state that the German health service is fantastic. They were brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I wrote it off in the Black Forest, but up until that point, it was the fastest, best Gixxer I've ever owned before and since. Phenomenal bike. I had no idea why it was different, but it was just quicker, sharper. It was like a Gixxer on steroids. All I know is there used to be a Suzuki dealership in Beckenham called, was it Beckenham? Maybe not Beckenham, West Wickham, called Premiers. And their mechanic, Ollie, who's still working, but he's self-employed now, mobile mechanic. I remember he said to me once when I took it to a service for them, he said, I'll have a little play with this. And I've got no idea what he did, but from then on, that bike was phenomenal. I miss that bike. And the other one would be my Tuono V4 RR. That was phenomenal bike to ride, to listen to. I loved the look of it, but an absolute pig to own. So
I didn't know you'd wrap that off in the. What did you hit in the Black Forest, or what did you do?
I hit Germany. I had a low side going round a bend at over 130 mile an hour, and the bike slid along the road, hit the curb, and just went up like a mortar up into the sky. I went under the Armco on my back, and I remember watching the bike somersault above me over the trees, and then it sort of disappeared into the trees and everything in the bushes of the forest. And I got caught by some trees and sort of deposited on the side of a hill. And it was just smashed up. The tank was pancaked. It was just totally foobarred. So that's the last I ever saw that bike. But yeah, what a machine. What a machine. Yeah. I think that's us. J. Andrew Cruz, he said Bruce and his GS is as much a thing as TMF and his GS. Well, there's an easy answer for that, really. Andrew, it's best bike in the world. Does everything. Ryan Groom, true, a bit like Richie Vida and his VFR. Again, we've got personal attractions to the bike, haven't we?
Yeah, for sure.
Is that a wrong thing? I don't think that's anything bad.
No, definitely not.
Dude, that is nearly 4 hours.
You're joking.
No, it's like well over 3.5. If we take pee breaks out of it, it's probably about 3.5 hours.
Sure. Make that work. All good.
What's the apart from your birthday celebrations? What's the immediate sort of future hold for you? What are you doing?
Yeah, nothing planned really, to be honest. Take it as it comes at the moment, but yeah, for this year, hopefully I can get away on a weekend or two, maybe. So I want to do some sort of winter rides, because I've got some although you touched on your keys heated gear, I've been given some gear from Rooker to test, which I haven't.
What?
I've been blessed with Rooker.
I had to pay $2,000 for my blooming Rooker. Rooker, what is going on here?
Yeah, that same for the similar $2,500 suit that you paid for, I got sent one for free.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm really chuffed for you. Really chuffed, Sean. That's awesome.
They sent me their heated vest, or their heating and cooling vest. I think that's the only vest on the market that heats and cools.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
a bit tasty with the price, but yeah. So I've been
Shaun.
Yeah.
You know what you got to do now? you have to go from Nordkap to the Sahara in Morocco.
To Siberia.
No, Nordkap, the top of Europe, all the way to the Sahara, Mazuga, the two extremes in your vest. It's got to be done.
Well, it's a bit extreme just to test the vest, but...
Ruka, if you were going to send that to me, that's what I would do. That's all I'm saying. Okay, if you were to send that to me, that's what I would do. But, you know, what can I say?
Yeah, so I've got some winter stuff that I want to get done just to sort of give that the sort of a good look into, and then, but other than that, sort of Christmas wise, we don't know what's happening with Christmas. All the numbers and figures have gone skyrocketed through the roof the last couple of weeks. So,
what with COVID?
Yeah, so we don't even know. We could be sort of heading towards. I don't think another lockdown will come, but I think towards Christmas, December time, I think we'll have some sort of stricter rules in place.
Here in the UK, hand on my heart, I didn't even know it was a thing anymore. I don't follow it anymore. I don't watch news. I don't follow any of that shit.
You guys don't even wear masks now, right?
No. You're supposed to on public transport, and I think some shops ask that you do it. So I know. I mean, I don't do the shopping thing, but I know my missus does, and she'll wear her mask when she likes to go in and out of the charity shops and all that sort of malarkey. So I know they. You know, if someone asks you to wear a mask, fine, whatever. It's got to be done. But
we're still 100%.
Life's carried on.
Mask shite, which I don't get on with it all. But the numbers are going through the roof again. So I don't know what lies for us for December.
Are your death rates going through the roof, or is it just infection rates?
No, it's just infection rates. But
same here in the UK. So
it's obviously, but you guys are obviously. I don't know what the percentages wise for vaccinations, but we're pretty much up there with high percentage rates of people that are vaccinated. But still, I don't know what's happening. I don't really. I'm the same as you. I don't really pay attention to it anymore. It doesn't really affect me too much, and I don't watch it. Because it's been going on too long. You just get annoyed with it all. So, but the plan for me. I mean, for biking, nothing. I don't think nothing will change, because obviously biking's a thing you can do anyway. It's whether you can overnight in hotels, but I can't see that changing. But hopefully Andy can get some time in December. He is going to look into that, because we all do want to get away on a sort of winter weekender. But if he hasn't got time, then I shall do something with Todd for sure. So we shall see.
Right. Well, folks, please get on over to Shaun's channel, send him some support, subscribe if that's the thing that you're into. And if you like my stuff, you will 100% like Shaun's stuff. I'll give Andy a plug as well, AMC Andy Mancam. You two, you deserve so much more than in terms of subscribers than what you have. You really do deserve a lot more, for sure. Their content is shit hot, people. Get over there, check it out. Show them some love. Dude, I really do appreciate you giving me almost 4 hours of your Sunday afternoon. Thank you very much.
Always a pleasure, Bruce. No problem at all.
Happy birthday when it comes.
Yeah, Thursday. Thursday is the day. So
40th on Thursday. Everyone send him a happy birthday. Well, this podcast, this audio podcast, will come out on the Wednesday. So make sure the following day you send Shaun some love on his socials. All right. What a great 40th if all of a sudden we can get him to 20,000 subscribers on his YouTube. Let's do it.
Magic.
Let's do it. Do it, people.
Yeah. Get over there.
Dude, is there anyone you want to give a shout out? Any plugs you want to give for yourself, or any channel sponsors, supporters, anything, your Patreon? Feel free. Off you go.
No, I mean, not directly, but just to say thank you to everybody who's sort of been a part of the channel, and to everybody's channels. I mean, I appreciate from the smallest thing to a like, a comment on any video, to the guys that go that bit further and sort of financially support channels. I'd just like to say thank you all for the year that it's been, although it's been a difficult year. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and hopefully it's helped everybody sort of get through some sort of difficult times. And I know it has helped a lot of people, and a lot of people appreciated content over the difficult last couple of years. So thank you to everybody for sort of, no matter how small, being part of the channel and moving on to bigger and better things, hopefully, and it progresses that much more. So we'll see where we go.
Absolutely, dude. It's coming your way for sure.
Hopefully.
All right, folks. Hope you've enjoyed this one. Thank you very much for bearing with us if you followed us all the way to the end. Folks, if you're listening to the podcast, please do tell your friends about it. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, make sure you rate the podcast. 5-star rating is preferable, but any rating really does help. Sharing the podcast as well, that's a massive help to people. Just get the word out there. It's already doing well. It's already in the top 10% globally, but if we can nudge it up a smidgen, we can crack on up to the top 5. All right, folks, keep doing your thing. Look after those that you love. Get on out there whenever you can. But most importantly, live your life. Woo-ha! Dude, thank you very much, man. Really appreciate you coming on. Let me stop this. Where is my stop record, stop video? Bosh, there we go. Yeah, awesome, man. Really enjoyed that. Listen, what were we chatting about before? Yeah, a Patreon meetup. I think that's a cracking idea.
I've lost your video feed.
Oh, hang on.
You've gone.
Start video.
There you go.
There you go.
You're back.
I'm back. Right, sorry. This is what I meant to